Fine, just transfer the money. What? You should send the money to her account, she's going through a tough time. But you gave her most of your salary already, didn't you? I don't think that matters. You're so cold. My name is Kelly, I'm 32 years old, and I work at a tax accountant office in Tall. My husband, Luis, is 2 years younger than me, and we met at the bar where he works. We became friends at work, and after a year of dating, we got married. Luis had a very different childhood from mine. He grew up in an institution because his mom disappeared when he was young, and his grandmother passed away a year later. He lived in an institution from the age of 10. He doesn't like talking about his past, so I never ask. When we got married, my parents asked if I was okay with our different backgrounds. I told them I liked him, and it wasn't a problem, which was mostly true, but I wasn't completely sure. Luis is a quiet, caring, and gentle person. I thought we could support each other forever. Unfortunately, after 2 years of marriage, things started to change. It all began when my mother-in-law showed up. She appeared out of nowhere, and it was an emotional reunion. She and Luis cried together, but when I saw them crying, I didn't feel moved. Instead, I thought she was being selfish. I'm so sorry, it's been so long. I had financial problems and didn't want to drag you into them. I know, I've been trying to find you for a long time. I didn't know how to tell you I lost my house, but I'm glad we finally met. Luis seemed happy to see her, but I couldn't forget that she had left him at a very important time in his life. If she had been struggling with debt, how could she not care about him when she left? It didn't make sense to me. She was wearing blonde hair, short skirts, and revealing tops. She sounded like someone who drank a lot, but I told myself not to judge by appearances. Luis was happy, so I tried to be happy for them. It was nice seeing you. I hope we can meet again. I'm sure we will. Thanks, but I don't know if I can come again. Why? I don't have a place to stay. Luis looked at me. I shouldn't do this, but isn't it wrong to tell your son you don't have a place to live? If you really care about your children, you wouldn't burden them. I don't think a mother who disappeared should do this. His look said, let her stay here, please. Fine, I don't like it, but maybe I'm overthinking it. I should help her, I thought. I made eye contact with Luis, agreeing silently. Mom, you can live with us. Really? Thank you. Wow, that was fast. You really know how to act. It's suspicious. Thank you so much. We'll live together from now on. She moved in without any real apology. After she came, Luis tried his best to take care of her, even though it seemed painful. I didn't think she would be a problem. I thought Luis might be trying to do things he couldn't as a child. But after 2 weeks, the real her showed up. It happened when Luis went shopping, and I was working late. It was the first time we were alone. So, you're a tax accountant? She asked in a different tone. Yes. You must have a lot of money saved up. I really don't want to talk about this. You talk differently when Luis isn't here. He loves me, you know that. He wouldn't believe anything bad you say about me. By the way, you're making money, right? Can you lend me some? I don't want to. Come on, you should help me. It's only right that someone like you, who makes money, should lend some to people in need. That's how the world works. I've never heard that before. That's why kids today don't understand the world. Hurry up and give me the money. I'm not giving you money. From then on, whenever it was just the two of us, it was always the same conversation. I didn't want to tell Luis because I knew it would cause a fight, so I kept quiet, even though I could tell his mother was taking advantage of him. The first part was tough, but I tried to be patient. However, my patience only lasted for a month. Just when I was about to ask her to leave, she surprised me by saying she was moving out. This felt like a blessing I didn't even expect. Mom, are you really leaving? Yeah. I can't keep bothering you and Kelly. We're not those kinds of people. And you can't stay with us forever. Stop with the pearls. I'm happy about it, thanks. I found a new apartment. They said I don't even need a guarantor. I won't be a bother anymore. That's good. Let me show you. It's only 5 minutes away, so let's take a walk. Luis nervously followed his mom. After that, I started to lose trust in him. Since his mom showed up, my relationship with Luis had been neglected. He always put his mom's needs before mine, and he was pulling away from me. We walked to her new apartment and were shocked by how bad it was. It looked like a shady place, and I think it was even rumored to be haunted. Luis saw it and looked at his mom with tears in his eyes. Mom, please, come back to our home. It's fine. I'm living here now. Just visit me if you can. The next day, his mom moved out of our house. But I knew this was all part of her plan. Louise had fallen right into her trap. Kelly, can you help my mom somehow? Why should I? You saw that apartment. Don't you feel bad for her? That was just her trick. She's trying to get money from us. I'll never give her anything. Louise has no idea what kind of game she's playing. I'm not giving her any money. Why not? She's rented an apartment, so she must have money. She goes out, so she must be working. She's not working. She's volunteering at a nursing home during the day. Volunteering? That's a lie. I can't believe she's a volunteer. I won't believe it. What's your point? Nothing. I'm just not paying for it. Louise looked at me coldly. Kelly, you're fine as long as things are good for you, right? What do you mean? Kelly, you make more money than I do, and you think I should just listen to you. What are you talking about? When did I say that? It's in the way you act. Mom said it too. She said, Kelly is a little scary. I bet she left because of you. I felt like crying. What did he see in me before? You don't know anything, and now you're blaming me for everything. You don't even know your own mother. Do you know what I've been going through since your mother showed up? Have you ever thought about that? Don't try to make me feel guilty. After that huge argument, our relationship fell apart. We didn't speak for days. Then, a few days later, Louise called me. I answered to see what was going on. You're at work, right? Yeah. I'm really sorry, but I need you to visit my mom. Why? She hurt her leg and is having a hard time. She would really appreciate it if you went to see her, but I can't leave the store today because I have a vendor coming in. It would mean a lot if you could go. All right, I'll go after work, thanks. I sighed when I hung up. Even though things were difficult between us, Louis only called me when it was about his mom. I felt emptier and emptier. I pulled out the divorce papers and stared at them. I guess it's time to end this. After work, I went to the apartment. You're late. My mother-in-law's leg was bandaged. How are you feeling? Not well, that's why you're here. Hurry up and make me some tea. She sat on the sofa and started watching TV. I reluctantly went to the kitchen to make tea. Then I noticed a bank passbook in the cupboard. I glanced at my mother-in-law. She didn't notice. I quietly picked it up and checked the contents. Oh no, I couldn't stop myself from reacting. Shut up, I can't hear the TV. It took me a while to make the tea, but she kept complaining while watching TV. I looked around and saw she had nice teacups and dishes. I started to understand everything. Here's your tea, now I'm leaving. What are you talking about? Where's dinner? Why don't you cook it for yourself? You're the one who's paying for it. I don't think I should. You have plenty of money, don't you? She saw the passbook in my hand and quickly stood up. That's mine, don't you dare not give it back. She tried to reach for it, but there was no way she could reach me since I'm taller. I walked straight to the door, and she glared at me fiercely. Oh, I thought you broke your leg. You were limping just now. Just give it back to me. I left her apartment and went home. Louise greeted me. Thank you for going. My mom must have been in a lot of pain. No, she was fine. No, she couldn't have been. She must have been in pain. Did you give her the money? From the look on his face, he hadn't heard from his mom. What money? You didn't give me any money. No, don't you feel sad when you see your mom hurting? She needs money, and I thought you'd give it to her. So you think I should give her the money? Louise sighed. Fine, just transfer the money. What? You should send the money to her account. You know she's struggling. You gave her most of your salary, didn't you? I don't think that's necessary. You're so cold. I thought you'd understand after seeing your mom in pain. I've wasted so much time thinking about it. What have you been thinking about? Your mother's been pretending to be weak, because you're not nice at all. This is the only way she can get anything from us. I didn't know what else to say. I threw the passbook at Louise. Look at this. Do you still think she's poor? Wake up. What do you mean? Why does she have $70 million? She has money, but she keeps trying to get more from us. She left you alone when you needed her and then suddenly shows up asking to live with us and keeps asking for money, not just from you, but from me too. She asks me for money when you're not here. What makes you think this is the person you should protect? She's a hustler. If you still want to protect your mother, that's your choice, but I want a divorce. I'm done. You still don't believe me. You and your mom are the same. living in a shady house, trying to get money from me. You're just like her. I probably had more to say, but it didn't matter anymore. I couldn't understand why my husband believed his mother so much. He had waited for her for so long, but I couldn't tell him that he was being used and unloved. After that, Luis and I got divorced. I didn't get alimony. I couldn't take his money after his mother tricked him. I also didn't get any of the shared property. We agreed to keep our savings separate. A month later, Luis was waiting for me outside my office. I told him to just say what he needed. He told me something I couldn't believe. My mom got arrested for theft and fraud. She had been asking elderly people at the nursing home for their PIN numbers and passbooks. Their families reported her, and she's in jail now. She was arrested again for more crimes. Fortunately, the money she tried to get from Luis was safe. It was returned to the victims. Luis apologized and then disappeared from my life. It was sad to see him go. That was the end of my short marriage, but I was glad it was over. The darker side of Luis was too much for me. I hope I can find someone I can truly be with someday. I think I'm done with marriage for now. I'm more comfortable focusing on my career. I'm going to work harder and maybe open my own office someday. That's my new goal. Luis's mother was all about money, and the way Luis handled it was heartbreaking. Parents shape a child's character, don't they? Luis was truly a victim of his mother. I hope that both Kelly and Luis find happiness in the future. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel if you liked the video. See you in the next one.
The first sign something was wrong came in a pink envelope. I almost missed it, buried under sympathy cards and funeral notices. But there it was. A mortgage payment rejection notice. Impossible. We had plenty of money. My name is Sierra, and 2 weeks ago I buried my mother. Today I'm staring at proof that my comfortable life is starting to unravel. "Bryant," I called out, my voice echoing through our empty house. No answer. My husband was working late again. The third time this week. I pulled up our joint account on my phone, hands shaking. The balance made my stomach drop. 852,16. Last I checked, we had over $50,000 in savings. I scrolled through recent transactions, each one hitting me like a punch to the gut. Hotel charges, first-class flights, a $12,000 transfer to an account I didn't recognize. The front door clicked open. "Hey, babe," Bryant said, loosening his tie. He smelled like expensive cologne, not his usual brand. "Care to explain this?" I held up the pink notice. He barely glanced at it. "Must be a bank error. I'll handle it tomorrow." "And the empty savings account?" His face changed then, just slightly. A tightening around the eyes. "You shouldn't worry about finances right now. You're grieving. Let me handle everything." "Don't do that," I said. "Don't use Mum's death to dodge my questions." "Sierra, come on. You're emotional. It's been a rough few weeks." "Stop! Just stop!" I pulled up the transaction history. "What's this hotel charge from last Thursday?" "Business meeting." "In Miami? You told me you were in Chicago." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Look, some investments didn't pan out. The market's been volatile. I had to move some money around. $50,000 worth." "You're not thinking clearly," he said, using that patronizing tone he'd perfected lately. "Why don't you take one of your anxiety pills and get some rest?" I wanted to scream, to throw something. Instead, I thought of Mum's last words to me. "Patience reveals all truths." "You're right," I said quietly. "I should rest." Relief flooded his face. He kissed my forehead, a gesture that now felt hollow. "I've got another late meeting tomorrow. Don't wait up." That night, I lay awake remembering Mum's funeral. How Bryant kept checking his phone. How my sister Rebecca showed up late, barely spoke to me, but cornered Bryant for a lengthy conversation I couldn't hear. The next morning, I called Deacon, my friend who works in forensic accounting. "Can you help me trace some transactions?" I asked. Quietly. "Of course. Everything okay?" "No," I said, "but I'm going to find out why." I spent that afternoon in my mother's empty house, sorting through her papers. A photo fell from one of her folders, Mom and me at my wedding, both beaming. Bryant's arm around my waist. All lies. My phone buzzed. A text from Rebecca. "How are you holding up? BTW, did Mum ever discuss the inheritance details with you? I stared at the message. Rebecca hadn't asked how I was doing since the funeral, but she wanted to know about money. Another notification popped up. Our joint credit card app, a new charge, $4,800 at Tiffany & Co. My hands were steady as I took screenshots. I forwarded them to Deacon, then opened my banking app and began documenting everything. The grief counsellor Mum insisted I see before she died had said something that suddenly made sense. Sometimes the deepest betrayals come wrapped in concern. Bryant came home past midnight. I pretended to be asleep as he showered, erasing whatever evidence clung to his skin. In the darkness, I made a silent promise to my mother. I would be patient, I would be smart, and I would find out exactly what was happening to the life I thought I had. The next morning, another pink envelope arrived. This time, it was a missed payment notice for our car insurance. I added it to my growing file of evidence, right next to the funeral program where Bryant had eulogized my mother so beautifully, calling her the wisest woman I've ever known. If only he knew just how wise she'd been, because somewhere in this house, in these papers, was the truth about my inheritance. And something told me Mom had seen this coming long before I did. I picked up my phone and called Rachel, the therapist Mom recommended. "I need an appointment," I said, "today if possible." "Of course," she replied. "What should I put as the reason for visit?" I watched another bank alert pop up on my phone, a transfer of $3,000 to an account labelled AS Holdings. "Let's call it marriage counselling," I said. "For now." "These aren't business expenses," Deacon said, spreading bank statements across my kitchen table, "unless your husband's company routinely holds meetings at the Four Seasons Resort in Maui." I sipped my coffee, now cold. We'd been at this for hours. Show me everything. First-class tickets to Miami, booked for 2, suite reservations, jewellery purchases, lots of them, and this, he pointed to a highlighted line, a down payment on a luxury condo through Paradise Valley Real Estate Trust. We don't own property in Paradise Valley. "No," Deacon said carefully, "but someone named Amber Santos does, and Bryant's signature is all over the paperwork." The name hit me like ice water. Amber. I'd seen it before, somewhere. "Here." I pulled up my phone, scrolling through old texts. 3 months ago, Bryant mentioned hiring a new marketing coordinator named Amber. 27 years old, Deacon added, pulling up her LinkedIn profile. Started at Bryant's company 8 months ago. My coffee mug shattered against the wall before I even realised I'd thrown it. "Sierra." "I'm fine." I wasn't. "Keep going. The condo closed 2 weeks ago, right after your mother's funeral." While I was picking out my mother's casket, my husband was picking out real estate with his mistress. My phone buzzed. Rachel, my therapist, confirming our afternoon appointment. Thank God. "There's more," Deacon said. "The down payment, it came from your joint savings, but the monthly payments are being auto-drafted from an account I can't trace yet. Can you get photos?" He hesitated. "Already did, had my PI friend watch the condo." He slid an envelope across the table. "You sure you want to see these?" I opened it. Bryant and a young woman with long dark hair entering the Paradise Valley condo. Him carrying takeout bags, her laughing. Another shot, them on the balcony, his arms around her waist, the same way he used to hold me. The final photo, them kissing in the parking lot next to his car, the same car I'd helped him pick out last year. When were these taken? Yesterday, during his late meeting. My phone buzzed again. Bryant. "Working late again. Don't wait up. Love you." I showed Deacon the text. He swore under his breath. "There's one more thing," he said. "Your sister, Rebecca? She called Bryant's office multiple times before your mother died, always asking for him directly." The pieces clicked. Rebecca's sudden interest in the inheritance, her private conversation with Bryant at the funeral. "I need to go," I said, gathering the photos. "I have therapy." Rachel's office was exactly as Mom described it. Calm, peaceful, everything I wasn't feeling. "Tell me what's happening," Rachel said after I sat down. I placed the photos on her coffee table. My husband is sleeping with his marketing coordinator and spending my money to keep her in luxury. How did you discover this? Bounced mortgage payments, empty accounts, then I started digging. I laughed bitterly. Mum always said I was too trusting. Guess she was right. Your mother meant a lot to you. She was brilliant, successful, built her own empire after Dad left. I wiped my eyes. She tried warning me about Bryant last year, said he asked too many questions about her estate. And how did you respond? I defended him, said he was just being thorough. My voice cracked. I'm such an idiot. You're not an idiot, Rachel said firmly. You're someone who's experienced multiple betrayals while grieving. What do you want to do about it? I thought about the photos, the empty accounts, the lies. I want to destroy him, I whispered. Not just leave him, destroy him. That's a normal feeling, but revenge? No, I cut her off. You don't understand. Mum left me something important. I need to find it before Bryant does. Rachel leaned forward. What did she leave you? I don't know exactly, but the day before she died, she made me promise to read her will carefully. Said there were provisions for protection. My phone buzzed. Deacon, found something, come quick. I have to go, I told Rachel, standing. Sierra, she called as I reached the door, whatever you're planning, be careful. Revenge can burn both ways. I thought of the photos. Bryant and Amber laughing on that balcony I'd unknowingly paid for. Sometimes, I said, things need to burn. Outside, another text waited. Rebecca. We need to talk about Mum's estate. Bryant mentioned some concerns. I deleted it without responding. Let them think I was still the grieving, clueless wife. They'd learn soon enough just how much my mother's daughter had learned about patience and payback. $8 million, Deacon said, sliding the trust document across his desk. Your mother put everything in a protected trust. Bryant can't touch it, not a single penny. I read through the paperwork, my hands trembling. What does this mean? It means your mother was a genius. Deacon pointed to specific clauses. The trust requires your sole authorization for any withdrawals, no joint access, no spousal rights. She even included a clause preventing access through power of attorney. So all this time, all the money Bryant's been spending, it came from your joint accounts, not the trust. He probably thought he'd get access to the trust after draining your liquid assets. I remembered Mum's last conversation with me, how she'd squeezed my hand and said, sometimes love blinds us to truth. That's why we need safety nets. My phone buzzed. Bryant. Need to transfer more money for business expenses? What's the hold-up with the accounts? I ignored it. What happens now? Well, Deacon smiled. Legally, you can close all joint accounts with just your signature. The trust gives you that power. Do it, I said. Close everything. Already did. This morning. My phone buzzed again. Multiple notifications from our banking app. Bryant would be seeing them too. He's going to be furious, I said. Let him. Every purchase he made with Amber, every hotel stay, every flight, it's all documented. And since he moved the money to private accounts without your consent, it's technically financial fraud. A knock at the office door made us both jump. Rebecca stood there, perfectly manicured and wearing our mother's old pearls. Sorry to interrupt, she said, not sounding sorry at all. I've been trying to reach you, Sierra. I've been busy. So I see. Her eyes flickered to the trust documents. Having money troubles? Nothing I can't handle. Bryant seems worried. He called me yesterday. Of course he did. I stood up. Tell me, Rebecca, how long have you been feeding him information about Mum's estate? She flinched, just slightly, but enough. I don't know what you're talking about. Phone records don't lie, sis. All those calls to his office before Mom died? Did he promise to share the money once he got his hands on it? He was concerned about you, she said, but her voice wavered. After Mum changed her will. Changed her will? This was new. Rebecca's face went pale. I shouldn't have said that. No, please continue. Tell me how you and my husband conspired to steal my inheritance while my mother was dying. It wasn't like that. She stepped forward. Mum always favoured you. Everything was always for you. Bryant understood how unfair. Get out. My voice was ice. Now. After she left, Deacon whistled low. Your sister's involved deeper than we thought. Doesn't matter. She failed. I picked up the trust documents. They all failed. My phone rang. Bryant. I answered on speaker. What the hell did you do? He shouted. All our accounts are closed. Our accounts? I kept my voice calm. You mean the accounts you've been using to fund your love nest with Amber? Silence. Sierra, I can explain. No need. The Four Seasons receipts explained plenty. So did the photos. Photos? You had me followed. His voice cracked. Baby, please, we can work this out. The money, I'll pay it all back. With what money, Bryant? The trust you thought you'd get access to. Another long silence. How did you know about the trust? Mom told me everything would be protected. I just didn't understand what she meant until now. I paused. By the way, those credit cards you've been using, they're all in your name only. Enjoy the debt. You bitch! I hung up. That, Deacon said, was ice cold. No, I replied. That was just the beginning. My phone buzzed with a text from Rachel. How are you holding up? I typed back, getting stronger every day. Another message popped up from an unknown number. This is Amber. We need to talk. I showed Deacon the message. Don't respond, he warned. Not yet. Let them sweat. I gathered my things, including copies of the trust documents. I need to go home. There's something in Mum's papers I need to find. The changed will Rebecca mentioned? Yes, Mum never told me about any changes. I headed for the door, and I need to know why. Sierra! Deacon called after me. Whatever you find, remember your mother protected you for a reason. Don't let revenge make you sloppy. I thought of Bryant and Rebecca plotting behind my back, of Amber in that luxury condo, of all the lies. Don't worry, I said. I learned patience from the best. Outside, the sun was setting. Somewhere across town, Bryant was probably panicking, realising his carefully laid plans were crumbling. Good. Mum always said karma works on its own timeline, but sometimes karma needs a little help. The memory hit me as I sorted through Mum's papers. Rebecca, age 16, screaming at our mother, "You always loved her more." I was 18 then. Mum had just announced she was paying for my college tuition. Rebecca's grades weren't good enough for the same offer. Now, 15 years later, I found what I was looking for, Mum's original will, dated 3 months before her death. And there, paper-clipped to it, a handwritten note. My dearest Sierra, if you're reading this, someone has betrayed you. Call this number. Love, Mum. My hands shook as I dialed. Harrison and Wade Law Offices, a receptionist answered. I need to speak with Kelvin Wade. My mother was Louisa Reynolds. Silence then. One moment, please. A deep voice came on the line. Sierra, I've been waiting for your call. You knew my mother? I was her lawyer for 20 years. She left specific instructions about the changed will. What changes? Not over the phone. Can you come in? Now? 40 minutes later, I sat in a plush office, while Kelvin, a distinguished man in his late 40s, pulled out a thick file. 3 months ago, your mother received an interesting phone call, he began. From your sister. Rebecca? Yes, she was, shall we say, concerned about your husband's financial interests in the estate. My stomach turned. What did she tell Mom? That Bryant had been asking detailed questions about your mother's assets, about transfer rights after death, about ways to access trust funds through spousal privilege. Son of a bitch, I whispered. Your mother was very calm about it. She said, now I know who to watch. Kelvin smiled. That's when she changed her will. He handed me a document. She removed the standard inheritance structure and created the protected trust. But there's more. I scanned the papers. What am I looking at? Your mother added a clause. Any debts incurred by your spouse using joint assets can be legally transferred to his sole responsibility. Wait, I sat up straighter. You mean all those charges Bryant made? The hotels, the condo, the gifts for his mistress? They're his debt now, only his. A laugh bubbled up from my chest, half joy, half disbelief. There's something else, Kelvin said. Your sister's call wasn't the only warning sign. We traced a series of emails between Bryant and Rebecca, dating back 6 months before your mother's death. He pushed a folder across the desk. Inside were printed emails, dozens of them. I can get half the trust fund if we play this right, Bryant had written. Just keep feeding me information about your mother's estate plans. Rebecca's response, What's in it for me? 20%. Once I have control, I'll make sure you get what you deserve. My vision blurred with tears, of rage, of grief, of vindication. Mum knew, I whispered. She knew, and she protected me anyway. She did more than that, Kelvin said. She left you a weapon. My phone buzzed. Bryant again. Please call me. We need to talk about the accounts. What do I do now? I asked Kelvin. That depends. Do you want justice or do you want revenge? Is there a difference? Justice follows the law. Revenge follows the heart. He leaned forward. Lucky for you, your mother's will allows for both. Another buzz. Rebecca. Bryant's freaking out. What did you do? Can you help me? I asked Kelvin. To do this right. Your mother retained my services for you, paid in full. He smiled. She said you'd need a shark. I showed him my phone with both messages displayed. Tell them nothing, he advised. Let them worry. Meanwhile, we'll start the paperwork to transfer all debt to Bryant's name. And Rebecca? The emails prove conspiracy to commit financial fraud. She's not as protected as she thinks. I stood to leave, feeling stronger than I had in weeks. Sierra, Kelvin called after me, your mother said something else. She said, tell her to remember the garden. The garden, where Mum taught me to pull weeds. You have to get the roots, she'd said. Otherwise, they just grow back stronger. I understand, I told Kelvin. When can we start? We already have. I filed the first motion this morning. Outside, the sun was shining. My phone buzzed again. Amber. Your husband isn't who you think he is. I actually laughed out loud. No, Bryant wasn't who I thought he was. But then again, neither was I. Time to do some weeding, I whispered, and headed to my next therapy appointment. I had a lot to tell Rachel about karma, justice, and the difference between revenge and righteousness. Mum always said every garden needs pruning sometimes. Bryant and Rebecca were about to learn exactly what that meant. All assets have been frozen, Kelvin announced, sliding the court order across his desk. And every debt Bryant incurred has been legally transferred to his name only. How bad is it? I asked. The condo down payment, his debt, the credit card charges, his debt, the luxury car lease for Amber, his debt. Kelvin's smile was predatory. Roughly $428,000 in total. My phone lit up. Bryant calling. Again. You should answer it, Kelvin suggested. On speaker. I pressed the green button. What the hell is happening? Bryant's voice cracked. The bank just called. They're foreclosing on the condo. Really? The one you bought for Amber? Sierra, please, I can explain everything. Like you explained the empty accounts, the bounced mortgage payments, the jewellery receipts. I made some mistakes, he said, but this is cruel. You're destroying my life. No, Bryant, I'm just making you pay your own bills. The credit card companies are calling. They're saying everything's in my name now. How did you... Mum's will had some interesting clauses, I cut in, about protecting her daughter from financial fraud. Silence. You knew about the trust, he finally said, all this time? No, Mum knew about you all this time. The line went dead. Kelvin nodded approvingly. Well handled. Now, about your sister? A commotion outside interrupted him. Rebecca burst through the door, face flushed. You vindictive bitch, she screamed. Bryant just lost everything. Funny how karma works, I replied calmly. He was trying to help me. Mum left me nothing. Nothing. He promised to share the money once he stole it from me. I stood up. Those emails between you two were pretty clear about the plan. She paled. What emails? The ones where you agreed to help Bryant steal my inheritance for 20%. I stepped closer. Tell me, what's 20% of 0? Ms. Reynolds, Kelvin interrupted smoothly, you're not authorized to be here, and given the evidence of conspiracy to commit fraud, I suggest you leave before we contact the authorities. Rebecca's hands trembled. You can't prove anything. Actually, I pulled out my phone, playing a recording. We can. Her own voice filled the room. Just keep feeding me information about your mother's estate plans. You recorded our calls? She whispered. No, Mum did, right after you warned her about Bryant's questions. I smiled. She didn't just change her will that day. She started gathering evidence. Rebecca stumbled backward. This isn't fair. You always got everything. I got what I earned, I snapped. While you were partying through college, I was helping Mum build her business. While you were demanding handouts, I was learning from her. Ladies, Kelvin warned, let's keep this professional. My phone buzzed. Amber again. We need to meet. There's something you should know. I showed Kelvin the message. Set it up, he advised, but in public, and wear this. He handed me a small recording device. Rebecca was still standing there, shell-shocked. What happens now? Now? I gathered my things. Now you get to watch everything fall apart, just like you and Bryant planned for me. I'll tell everyone what you did, she threatened, how you ruined him. Go ahead, tell them how Mum's will protected me from my husband's attempt to steal my inheritance. Tell them how you helped him plan it during her final months. I reached the door. Tell them everything. Outside, another text waited. Bryant. Please, I'm begging you. The banks are calling in all the loans. I forwarded it to Kelvin with a simple message. Start the divorce proceedings. My next stop was Rachel's office. She listened quietly as I explained everything. How do you feel? She asked when I finished. Powerful, I admitted, but also tired. Revenge takes energy, she noted. Are you ready for what comes next? You mean meeting Amber? I mean living with the consequences of all of it. I thought about Mum's last lesson, about gardens and weeds and patience. I'm not doing this for revenge anymore, I said. I'm doing it for truth. My phone lit up. A message from Deacon. Just traced the money trail. You need to see this. Amber isn't who we thought. Then another text from Amber herself. Starbucks, tomorrow, 2 p.m. There's something about Bryant you need to know. I showed Rachel the messages. Be careful, she warned. Sometimes the truth is more complicated than we expect. I know, I said, touching the recording device in my pocket, but Mum always said knowledge is power. And tomorrow I'd find out just how powerful the truth could be. Amber was already waiting when I arrived at Starbucks, stirring her drink with perfectly manicured nails. She looked younger in person than in the surveillance photos, barely pushing 30. Thanks for meeting me, she said as I sat down. Let's skip the pleasantries. I placed my phone on the table, recording app running. You wanted to talk, so talk. She smiled, not the guilty smile I expected, but something sharper. You think you know what's happening here, don't you? I know my husband drained our accounts to keep you in luxury. Your husband, she laughed, is an idiot, and you're not the first wife he's tried to rob. That hit me like a slap. What? Bryant was married before. Did he tell you that? To a woman in Florida, left her bankrupt too. I gripped my coffee cup tighter. You're lying. Amber pulled out her phone, pulled up documents. Margaret Stevens. Married to Bryant Clayton for 14 months in 2018. He cleaned out their joint accounts, claimed business investments gone wrong, then disappeared. How do you know this? Because I'm not really a marketing coordinator. She leaned forward. I work for an insurance fraud investigation unit. Bryant's been on our radar for years. My head spun. You're investigating him. We track people who marry into money, drain accounts, then vanish. Bryant's done it twice before you. She showed me more documents. The condo, the gifts, all evidence. We needed him to establish a pattern. So you're not sleeping with him? She grimaced. God, no, but I needed him to think I was the perfect mark, young, naive, ready to help him hide assets. I sat back, processing. Does he know? That I'm investigating him? No, he thinks I'm helping him set up offshore accounts for your mother's money? She smiled again. He has no idea those accounts are monitored by federal agents. My phone buzzed. Deacon. Found something about Amber. Call ASAP. Already figured it out, I texted back. Here's the thing, Amber continued. We have enough to arrest him for fraud, but with your help, we could make sure he never does this to anyone else. What do you need? Keep playing along. Let him think his plan is working when he tries to transfer the trust money. He can't access the trust, I interrupted. Mum made sure of that. We know, but he doesn't. And when he tries, when he submits those forged documents he's been working on. My breath caught. Forged documents. Your sister's been helping him create fake trust transfer papers. They're pretty good forgeries too. Amber pulled out more photos. These were taken last week. The images showed Bryant and Rebecca in her office, bent over papers. My blood boiled. What's the plan? I asked. Let him file the papers. The moment he does, we can add forgery and attempted trust fraud to the charges. She handed me a card. My real contact information. The investigation team will need your cooperation. My phone buzzed again. Bryant. I found a way to fix everything. Meeting with the bank tomorrow. Please don't do anything rash. I showed Amber the message. Perfect timing, she said. He's going to try using the forged documents tomorrow. And Rebecca? She'll be charged as an accomplice, unless... Amber paused. Unless you want to give her a chance to flip on Bryant first. I thought about my sister's betrayal, her jealousy, her greed. No, let her learn the hard way. You're sure she's still your sister? She stopped being my sister the moment she helped plan this during our mother's final months. Amber nodded. Fair enough. Oh, and Sierra? I'm sorry about your mum. She seemed like an amazing woman. She was. I stood up. She taught me to always look for the truth, even when it hurts. One more thing, Amber called as I turned to leave. Bryant's planning to run. He bought plane tickets to the Cayman Islands for next week. Let me guess. First class? Of course, using your credit card. I smiled. Except it's his credit card now, and it's about to be declined. Outside, I called Kelvin. Did you meet with Amber? He asked. Yes, and we need to move fast. Bryant's making his play tomorrow. The forged documents. You knew? We've been working with the fraud unit for weeks. Your mother contacted them before she died. Of course she did. Mum always played the long game. I had one more call to make, to Rachel. How did it go? She asked. Better than expected. Turns out Mom wasn't just protecting me from a thief, she was helping catch one. And how does that make you feel? I watched another text from Bryant pop up. Baby, please, I love you. Let me make this right. Like my mother's daughter, I replied, ready to finish what she started. Tomorrow, Bryant would learn the true cost of underestimating not just one, but 3 women. My mother, who saw him coming, Amber, who tracked him down, and me, who would make sure he never did this again. The courthouse hallway felt colder than I remembered. Bryant sat on a bench outside the courtroom, head in his hands, his expensive suit now wrinkled. Rebecca paced nearby, shooting nervous glances at the federal agent standing by the door. Ready? Kelvin asked, touching my arm. More than ready. We entered courtroom B just as Bryant's lawyer was setting up his documents, the forged ones, though he didn't know that yet. All rise, the bailiff called. Judge Martinez took her seat, reviewing the papers before her. This is regarding the Reynolds trust dispute and divorce proceedings. Yes, Your Honour, Bryant's lawyer stepped forward. We have documentation proving my client's right to access the trust funds as a marital asset. Objection, Kelvin stood. Your Honour, before we proceed, we have evidence that those documents are forgeries. The room erupted in whispers. Bryant's face went pale. That's a serious accusation, Judge Martinez warned. We have federal agents present who can verify the forgery charges. Kelvin gestured to Amber, who stood in her official capacity, badge displayed. Along with evidence of a pattern of similar financial fraud in other states. Bryant jumped up. This is ridiculous. Sierra, tell them. Sit down, Mr. Clayton, the judge ordered. Ms. Reynolds, do you wish to make a statement? I stood, my voice steady. Yes, Your Honour. Those documents were forged by my husband and sister in an attempt to steal my inheritance. We have surveillance photos, email evidence and testimony from federal investigators proving this conspiracy. Rebecca gasped. Bryant's lawyer frantically flipped through his papers. Furthermore, I continued, my mother's will specifically protected against this type of fraud. All debts incurred by my husband using our joint assets have been legally transferred to his name alone. Your Honour, Bryant's lawyer interrupted, we weren't aware of any federal investigation. Because your client was the target, Amber stepped forward, presenting her credentials. Mr. Clayton has a history of marrying wealthy women, attempting to seize their assets, then disappearing. We've been tracking him for months. Judge Martinez examined the evidence files. Mr. Clayton, do you have anything to say about these allegations? Bryant stood, straightening his tie. Your Honour, this is all a misunderstanding. My wife is emotional after her mother's death. The death you discussed with my sister while planning to steal my inheritance, I interrupted. The death that you saw as an opportunity. Ms. Reynolds, the judge warned, but I could see approval in her eyes. Your Honour, Kelvin spoke up, we have recorded conversations between Mr. Clayton and Rebecca Reynolds plotting this theft during Mrs. Reynolds's final months. Would you like to hear them? Rebecca burst forward. It wasn't my idea. Bryant said we'd split the money. Shut up, Bryant shouted. Order! Judge Martinez banged her gavel. Mr. Clayton, based on this evidence, I'm denying all claims to the trust funds. Furthermore, I'm authorizing the federal agents to take you into custody for questioning regarding multiple fraud charges. 2 agents moved forward as Bryant tried to bolt for the door. They caught him easily. Sierra, please, he begged as they cuffed him. I did it for us. No, I said quietly. You did it for you, just like you did to Margaret in Florida. His face crumpled at the mention of his previous wife. How did you... Your girlfriend isn't really your girlfriend, I smiled, but she is really good at her job. Amber stepped forward, showing her badge again. Mr. Clayton, you're under arrest for multiple counts of fraud, forgery, and attempted theft. You have the right to remain silent. Rebecca tried to slip out during the chaos, but another agent stopped her. Ms. Reynolds, we'll need you to come with us too. Conspiracy charges. Sierra, she pleaded, I'm your sister. You stopped being my sister the moment you helped him plan this during Mum's final days. Judge Martinez banged her gavel again. In light of these developments, I'm granting an immediate divorce decree. Ms. Reynolds, the trust remains solely in your name, and all debts incurred by Mr. Clayton are his responsibility alone. I watched as they led Bryant and Rebecca away in handcuffs. Your mother would be proud, Kelvin said softly. My phone buzzed. Rachel. How did it go? I typed back, Justice served, Mum's way. Outside the courthouse, Amber caught up with me. We'll need you to testify when this goes to federal court. I'll be there, I promised, for Margaret too. You know what's funny? Amber said. Bryant kept calling you naive, but your mother built this trap months ago, and he walked right into it. I thought about Mum's last words to me. Sometimes the best revenge is simply letting truth come to light. She was right, as always. The truth had come to light, and it had burned brighter than any revenge I could have planned. Now I just had one last thing to do, visit Mum's grave and tell her how it all played out. She'd appreciate that. She always did love a good story about justice served. Did bringing him down give you peace? Rachel asked, studying my face across her office. I placed a newspaper on her coffee table. The headline read, "Financial predator sentenced, man gets 12 years for multi-state fraud scheme." Not peace exactly, I said, but clarity. Tell me about the sentencing. Bryant cried when they read the verdict, begged for mercy, claimed he'd changed. I laughed softly. The judge wasn't moved, especially after Margaret testified about how he'd left her homeless. And your sister? 3 years with restitution payments. She wrote me a letter from jail trying to explain. I pulled out the crumpled paper. Want to hear it? Rachel nodded. "Dear Sierra," I read, "I've had time to think about what jealousy cost me. Not just my freedom, but my sister, my family. Mum would be so ashamed." I stopped, folding the letter. "I haven't written back." "Will you?" "I don't know. Some bridges stay burned." My phone buzzed. "Amber, just closed another case. Your mum's trust structure helped us catch 3 more guys running similar scams. Thank you." "Mum's still helping people." I showed Rachel the message. "Even now." "Speaking of your mother," Rachel said, "tell me about your visit to her grave." I touched the fresh-cut roses in my bag, waiting to be delivered there after our session. "I go every Sunday, tell her about the week, about the lives she saved by stopping Bryant. What would she say about everything that's happened?" She'd probably quote her favourite saying, "The truth doesn't need revenge to win, it just needs time to surface." Rachel smiled. Wise woman. She really was. I stood up, gathering my things. "Which reminds me, I have something for you." I handed her an envelope. Inside was a cheque and a note. "What's this?" "Mum prepaid for my therapy before she died, but she also left instructions to thank you properly once everything was over." I gestured to the cheque. "That's for your domestic violence support program." Rachel's eyes widened at the amount. "Sierra, this is too much." "Mom said you'd say that. She also said to tell you, help the next one who needs to find her strength." Outside, the autumn air was crisp. I drove to the cemetery, roses in hand, and sat by Mom's grave. "Hey, Mom," I said softly. "Bryant's going away for a long time. Margaret got her restitution money. Rebecca, well, she's learning some hard lessons." A breeze rustled the flowers. "Amber called today. Your trust fund setup is helping catch other predators. You're still protecting people, just like always." My phone buzzed. "Deacon." "Dinner tonight? Got someone I want you to meet?" "Not ready," I texted back. "Just dinner," he replied. "No pressure. She's a forensic accountant too. Thinks your mum's estate planning was brilliant." I smiled, remembering Mum's words. "Life keeps moving, Sierra. So should you." "Okay, Mum," I said to the grave. "Maybe you're right. Again." I laid the roses down and stood up, but something caught my eye. Another fresh bouquet. White lilies, Rebecca's favourite. A note nestled among them read, "I'm sorry. For everything. Ah." My throat tightened. Mum's voice echoed in my memory. "Forgiveness isn't about forgetting, it's about choosing peace over pain." "Still teaching me," I whispered, "still guiding me." I took out my phone and pulled up Rebecca's last letter. Maybe some bridges could be rebuilt. Slowly, carefully, with better foundations. "Dinner sounds good," I texted Deacon, "but first I need to write a letter." Sitting by Mum's grave, I began typing, "Dear Rebecca, Mom always said truth needs time to surface. Maybe that applies to healing too." A final message popped up, from Rachel. "Remember what your mother said about gardens. Sometimes after weeding, new things can grow." I looked at the roses and lilies side by side on Mum's grave. Different flowers, but both reaching for the same sun. "I know, Mum," I said softly. "I know. Time to plant something new." Standing up, I felt lighter somehow. Not healed, not completely, but ready. Ready to see what might grow in this garden I'd cleared of weeds. Ready to honour Mum's legacy, not just through justice, but through growth. After all, that's what she'd really been protecting all along. Not just my money or my future, but my chance to bloom again after the storm. And somewhere, I knew she was smiling, watching her daughter finally step into the sun,
The letter sat on my kitchen counter like a loaded gun. Plain white envelope, no return address, just my name written in precise, angular strokes that reminded me of a doctor's prescription. I'd found it under my door an hour ago, and since then, I'd done everything possible to avoid opening it, reorganized my protein powders. Wiped down every surface twice, even alphabetized my spice rack. Hello, wonderful listeners. Quick interaction time, where in the world did this story find you? Comment below. New here? Make it official with a subscribe. Let's get started. My name is Adelaide, and until this moment, I thought I had my life figured out. Successful fitness studio, loving fiancé, wedding plans underway. But something about that envelope made my stomach twist. I picked it up, running my finger along the sealed edge. The paper was expensive, thick, the kind Margaret, my future mother-in-law, used for her passive-aggressive thank you notes. But this wasn't from Margaret. The handwriting was too controlled, too deliberate. My phone buzzed. Ryan's face lit up the screen. Hey, babe. Mom wants to know if we're still on for Sunday brunch. Sure, I said, staring at the envelope. Listen, did you send me something today? What do you mean? A letter. Someone slipped it under our door. Silence stretched between us. Then, no, why would I send you a letter when we live together? My fingers trembled as I finally tore open the envelope. The paper inside was the same quality, filled with neat rows of typed text. Addie? You still there? I'll call you back. I hung up before he could protest and started reading. Dear Adelaide Thompson, I believe you deserve to know the truth about your fiancé. Ryan has been seeing someone else for the past 3 months. They meet every Thursday at 2 p.m. at the Riverside Hotel, room 412. The letter continued with details, specific dates, times, even what he wore. My legs gave out, and I sank onto our kitchen stool, the one Ryan had insisted on buying because it matched the granite countertops. My phone buzzed again. Ryan. I let it go to voicemail. The letter ended with, if you don't believe me, check his credit card statements. Look for charges from the hotel's restaurant, the river's edge. You deserve better than lies. It wasn't signed. I pulled up our shared banking app. Ryan and I had merged accounts 6 months ago, another step toward our future together. My hands shook as I scrolled through the transactions. There it was, the river's edge, multiple Thursday charges, always around the same time. No, I whispered to our empty apartment. No, no, no. The front door opened, and Ryan's keys clattered in the dish by the entrance. Addie? Why aren't you answering your phone? I was worried. He stopped when he saw me, his face shifting from concern to confusion. What's wrong? I held up the letter. Want to explain this? He crossed the room, reaching for the paper. I pulled it back. Tell me first. Is it true? Is what true? Addie, you're scaring me. The Riverside Hotel. Room 412. Thursdays at 2 p.m. Ring any bells? The color drained from his face. Not denial. Not confusion. Just guilt, written across every feature I thought I knew by heart. It's not, I can explain. I stood up so quickly the stool crashed behind me. Don't. Just. Don't. Please, let me. Who is she? He ran his hands through his hair, a gesture I used to find endearing. Now it made me want to scream. It's complicated. I laughed, a harsh sound that didn't seem like it could have come from my throat. Complicated? That's what you're going with? Mom was right, he muttered, more to himself than to me. This isn't going to work. Those words hit harder than any confession could have. Your mother? What does Margaret have to do with this? He wouldn't meet my eyes. In that moment, I realized this went deeper than just an affair. Something bigger was at play, something that had Margaret's fingerprints all over it. I grabbed my keys and phone, leaving the letter on the counter between us like a declaration of war. Where are you going? He called after me. To find out the truth, I said, not looking back. All of it. Margaret's pristine dining room felt like a courtroom, and I was on trial. The china clinked too loudly against the plates as we passed dishes around the Sunday brunch table. 3 days had passed since the letter, and Ryan still hadn't given me a real explanation about the hotel. Adelaide, dear, Margaret's voice cut through the silence. I heard your little fitness studio is struggling with the new chain gym opening nearby. I set down my fork. Actually, we've had record sign-ups this quarter. Oh? She raised an eyebrow, cutting her quiche into precise triangles. How surprising. I always thought people preferred more established businesses. Caleb cleared his throat. Mom, Addie's studio has amazing reviews. Half my band members train there. Yes, well, musicians aren't exactly known for their discerning taste, are they? Margaret smiled, all teeth. No offense, darling. Ryan stayed silent, pushing food around his plate. The engagement ring on my finger felt heavier with each passing minute. Speaking of taste, Margaret continued, I ran into Claire Davidson at the country club yesterday. You remember her, Ryan? She's doing remarkable things with her interior design firm. Very sophisticated clientele. I watched Ryan's shoulders tense. Mom, please. What? I'm simply making conversation. Claire asked about you, actually. She mentioned running into you recently. My hand froze midway to my water glass. Claire Davidson. Thursday afternoons. Room 412. Isn't it time we cleared the table? Caleb stood abruptly, gathering plates. Sit down, Caleb, Margaret commanded. We're not finished here. She turned to me, her eyes glittering. Adelaide, have you given any more thought to what we discussed about postponing the wedding? A long engagement can be so beneficial for really getting to know someone's true nature. That's enough. I pushed back from the table. Ryan, a word? Without waiting for his response, I walked into Margaret's pristine kitchen. The sound of his footsteps behind me was hesitant, guilty. Claire Davidson? My voice came out steadier than I felt. That's who you've been meeting? Addie, it's not. If you say it's not what you think one more time, I swear. She's helping with a project, he interrupted. A surprise. For the wedding. I laughed, the sound sharp enough to make him flinch. Right. In a hotel room. On Thursday afternoons. Everything okay, in here? Caleb appeared in the doorway, his expression concerned. Mom's working herself up to one of her speeches about family values. Stay out of this, Caleb, Ryan snapped. No, I said, let him stay. Someone in this family should witness what honesty looks like. I turned back to Ryan. Claire Davidson. The same Claire your mother tried to set you up with 3 years ago? The one she called the perfect addition to the Mitchell family? You're twisting everything, Ryan protested. Mom has nothing to do with. Oh, please. I yanked off my engagement ring. Your mother has everything to do with everything. She probably picked out the hotel herself. The ring clattered on the marble counter. Behind us, Margaret's heels clicked on the hard wood. Is everything all right? I heard raised voices. Perfectly fine, I said, turning to face her. We were just discussing your interior design consultation services. Margaret's face remained smooth, but something flickered in her eyes. I'm sure I don't know what you mean. Room 412 ring any bells? Or should I ask Claire? Adelaide, Ryan grabbed my arm. Stop this. I jerked away from him. Your mother's been orchestrating this whole thing, hasn't she? The meetings, the letter. What letter? Caleb asked. Margaret's composure cracked, just slightly. Ryan, perhaps it's time Adelaide went home. She's clearly upset. I'm leaving, I announced, but first, let me be clear, whatever game you're playing, Margaret, I'm going to figure it out. And when I do, you'll wish you'd never started this. Is that a threat? Margaret's voice turned ice cold. No, I smiled, channeling her earlier sweetness. Just a promise between family members. Isn't that what you always wanted? I walked out, leaving the ring behind. As I reached my car, Caleb caught up with me. Addie, wait. What letter were you talking about? I studied his face, searching for any sign of deception. Why don't you ask your mother? I'm sure she has a perfectly reasonable explanation for everything. You know she's not going to stop, right? Neither am I replied, starting my car. Neither am I. Sam's laptop screen glowed in the darkness of my living room, illuminating strings of text messages I shouldn't have been reading. But desperate times called for desperate measures, and my best friend's tech skills had finally cracked Margaret's password-protected cloud storage. Jesus, Sam whispered, scrolling through the messages. Your mother-in-law-to-be is something else. The timestamps went back months. Margaret to an unknown number, Claire's perfect for this. She still carries a torch for Ryan, and she knows how to be discreet. My fingers dug into the couch cushions. Another message, Adelaide's too common for our family. Ryan needs someone who understands our world. Once he sees what he's missing. Keep going, I said, even as my stomach churned. Sam clicked through more messages. Here's something from last week, the letter should arrive today. Once she finds out about the hotel meetings, everything will fall into place. The room spun. I'd suspected Margaret's involvement, but seeing it laid out so coldly made me physically ill. There's more, Sam said. Something about Margaret's sister? Elizabeth? My phone buzzed, Caleb calling. I ignored it. Wait, Sam straightened. Holy shit. Look at this email draft. The screen showed an unsent message to Elizabeth. You destroyed my marriage with your lies 25 years ago. Now you're trying to poison Ryan against me through that girl? I won't let another gold digger tear apart my family. I need to confront her, I said, standing. Addie, it's midnight. Perfect timing. I grabbed my keys. The truth comes out in the dark, right? Sam caught my arm. At least let me drive. You're shaking. 20 minutes later, we pulled up to Margaret's Victorian mansion. Lights blazed from the first-floor windows, she was still awake. Want me to come with? Sam asked. No. This needs to be between us. Margaret opened the door before I could knock, wearing a silk robe like she'd been expecting company. Adelaide? What an unexpected surprise. Cut the act. I pushed past her into the foyer. I know about the letter. The hotel meetings. Claire. All of it. She closed the door with deliberate slowness. I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Should we call your sister Elizabeth and ask her opinion? Margaret's composure cracked. Fear flashed across her face before being replaced by cold fury. You've been going through my private correspondence? Like you went through my life? Orchestrating meetings between Ryan and Claire? Trying to destroy my relationship? I was protecting my son. From what? Love? Happiness? From making the same mistake his father made. Her voice echoed off the high ceilings. Marrying beneath him, letting some woman destroy everything we built. Mom? We both turned. Ryan stood in the doorway to the study, papers scattered at his feet. Behind him, Caleb looked like he might be sick. How long have you been there? Margaret's voice trembled. Long enough, Ryan said. The letter. The hotel meetings. That was all you? I did it for you. Margaret stepped toward him. Claire comes from our world. She understands. Stop. Ryan's face had gone ash white. Just stop. I watched them, mother and son, standing in the wreckage of their carefully constructed lies. Part of me wanted to savor Margaret's exposure, but another part recognized something broken in her eyes, something that mirrored my own pain. Your sister, I said quietly. Elizabeth. What did she really do? Margaret's shoulders sagged. She told my husband the truth, that I came from nothing. That my family's wealth, our social standing. It was all fabricated. He left me for someone from his own circle. She laughed bitterly. Someone more suitable. So you decided to do the same thing to me? Make history repeat itself? I decided to protect my son from what I went through. By becoming exactly what destroyed you. I shook my head. Congratulations, Margaret. You've become the very thing you hated. I turned to leave, but Ryan caught my hand. Addie, wait. Please. No, I pulled away. Your mother didn't force you to meet Claire. Didn't make you lie to me. That was all you. The truth hung between us like shattered glass, beautiful, dangerous, and impossible to put back together. The box of Ryan's belongings sat by our front door, 3 years of life together reduced to photo frames and forgotten t-shirts. He stood in our living room, keys dangling from his fingers, while I methodically removed every trace of him from our shared apartment. I need time, he said, watching me delete his profile from our Netflix account. To figure things out. Figure what out exactly? I kept my eyes on the screen. Whether you prefer your mother's choice of wife over me? That's not fair. Neither is meeting Claire behind my back. He sighed, that familiar sound of frustration I'd heard so often lately. Nothing happened with Claire. Because you chose not to, or because you hadn't gotten around to it yet? The silence that followed was answer enough. My phone buzzed, Caleb calling again. Third time today. I declined the call. Addie, Ryan stepped closer. Mom was wrong about everything, but she was right about one thing. We rushed into this engagement. I finally looked at him. Rushed? We've been together 3 years. And in those 3 years, have you ever really tried to understand my family's expectations? The laugh that escaped me was hollow. You mean your mother's expectations? The same mother who fabricated her entire background to trap your father? Don't talk about her like that. Why not? It's the truth. Or does that make you uncomfortable, knowing you're just like her, living a lie? He flinched. I never lied about loving you. No, you just lied about everything else. I pulled off the necklace he'd given me for our 2nd anniversary. Here. Give it to Claire. I'm sure she'll appreciate the family heirloom more than this common girl. Stop it. He grabbed my wrist, gentle but firm. This isn't you. You're better than petty jabs. I jerked away. Maybe I'm tired of being better. Maybe I'm tired of being the bigger person while your mother schemes and you. You just let it happen. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Caleb, need to talk. It's about Mom and Claire. Important. Take your things, I said, turning away from Ryan. I'll have the rest shipped to your mother's house. I'm not moving in with Mom. No? Then where are you going? He hesitated. Claire offered her guest room. The words hit like a physical blow. Get out. Addie. Get out. The vase of flowers he'd brought last week, a guilty peace offering, shattered against the wall inches from his head. We both stood frozen, watching water drip down the wallpaper. I never meant to hurt you, he whispered. Funny how that keeps happening anyway. After he left, I sank to the floor among the scattered roses and broken glass. My phone buzzed again, Caleb. What? I answered, too tired for politeness. Claire's pregnant. The world tilted sideways. What? 3 months along. Mom's been helping her hide it while they figured out how to handle you. His voice cracked. I'm so sorry, Addie. I just found out. 3 months. The same time the hotel meeting started. Does Ryan know? Mom's telling him tonight. I couldn't let you be blindsided again. I ended the call without responding. 3 months. While I'd been planning our wedding, picking out color schemes, Ryan had been. My mother answered on the first ring. Adelaide? Can I come stay with you for a while? Of course, sweetheart. What's wrong? Everything. I looked around our apartment, my apartment now, at all the carefully constructed pieces of a future that never existed. But I think that's about to change. I packed a bag, leaving the engagement ring on the counter next to the broken vase. Let Ryan clean up this mess. I was done being the one who always picked up the pieces. As I drove away, another text came through from Caleb. Whatever you're planning, I want to help. Mom and Ryan need to face what they've done. I smiled for the first time in days. Maybe it was time to stop being the bigger person. Maybe it was time to show the Mitchells exactly what this common girl could do. The pregnancy test lay face down on my mother's bathroom counter, a 5-minute timer ticking away on my phone. 2 weeks since I'd left Ryan, since Claire's pregnancy bombshell, and now this, the universe's cruel joke. Mom knocked softly. Adelaide? Do you want me to come in? Not yet. My voice sounded strange, distant. Like it belonged to someone else. The timer beeped. I flipped the test over, staring at the 2 pink lines that would change everything. Again. When I opened the door, Mom took one look at my face and pulled me into her arms. No questions, no platitudes. Just the familiar scent of her perfume and the steady beat of her heart against my cheek. What am I going to do? I whispered. Whatever you decide, you won't do it alone. My phone buzzed. Caleb. He'd been feeding me information about Ryan and Claire's situation, each update twisting the knife deeper. I ignored the call. I can't tell him, I said. Not after everything. Mom guided me to the kitchen, putting on the kettle, her solution to every crisis. Because you're afraid of what he'll do, or what Margaret will do. Both. Neither. I pressed my hands against my temples. Claire's already giving them the perfect Mitchell air. What's Margaret going to do when she finds out there's another baby? One from the wrong side of the tracks? This isn't about Margaret. Everything is about Margaret. The words exploded out of me. She orchestrated all of this, the letter, Claire, the hotel meetings. And now you're carrying her grandchild. The kettle whistled, its scream matching the chaos in my head. My phone buzzed again, this time a text from Sam. Ryan's at your apartment. Looking for you. I need to go, I stood abruptly. I left something important at the apartment. Mom caught my arm. Adelaide, don't do anything rash. I'm just getting some papers. No, you're going to confront him. I know that look. I pulled away. He deserves to know what he's chosen. What he's losing. The drive to my apartment felt like moving through fog. Ryan's car sat in the parking lot, next to a familiar Mercedes, Margaret's. Of course she was here. I found them in my living room, Margaret directing movers while Ryan packed boxes. Well, this is cozy, I said from the doorway. They both spun around. Ryan looked terrible, unshaven, dark circles under his eyes. Margaret, naturally, was immaculate. Adelaide, she stepped forward, all concern and false warmth. We tried calling. Save it. I moved past her to my desk, pulling out the folder I'd come for. Just get your things and go. Addie, please, Ryan's voice cracked. Can we talk? About what? Claire's pregnancy? Or how your mother manipulated everything? Margaret's mask slipped. That's hardly fair. Fair? I laughed, the sound brittle. Like it was fair to send that letter? To orchestrate meetings between Ryan and Claire? I did what was necessary for my family. Your family? My hand instinctively moved to my stomach before I caught myself. You destroyed your family. And for what? So Claire could give you a socially acceptable grandchild? Ryan went pale. What are you talking about? The words rose in my throat. I'm pregnant too. Your mother's getting 2 grandchildren, not just one. But looking at them, standing there among the ruins of our life together, I swallowed them back. Nothing, I said finally. It doesn't matter anymore. I grabbed my folder and turned to leave, but Margaret's voice stopped me. I know you're pregnant, Adelaide. The world tilted. I turned slowly. What? She smiled, that practiced society smile that never reached her eyes. I have friends at every medical office in town. Did you really think you could keep it secret? Ryan staggered back like he'd been hit. You are. We are. Congratulations, Margaret said smoothly. Now we can discuss how to handle this situation properly. For everyone's sake. In that moment, looking at her calculated expression, I finally understood. This wasn't just about control or social status. This was about power, the power to shape lives, to determine futures. And she just played her last card. I smiled back, matching her tone exactly. You're right, Margaret. Let's discuss how to handle this. All of it. The Mitchell family's private dining room felt like a courtroom, with Margaret presiding from the head of the table. Ryan sat to her right, Claire to her left, while Caleb hovered near the window, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. I remained standing, my hands pressed flat against the polished mahogany to keep them from shaking. Well, Margaret smiled, shall we discuss the arrangements? Arrangements? My voice stayed steady, surprising even me. For both children, of course. The Mitchell heirs should be raised together, don't you think? We have plenty of room here at the estate. Ryan's head snapped up. Mother. It's the only sensible solution, Margaret continued. Claire's already agreed to move in. Haven't you, dear? Claire nodded, one hand protectively over her stomach. She wouldn't meet my eyes. And what makes you think I'd agree to that? I asked. Margaret's smile tightened. Because you want what's best for your child. A proper upbringing, the right connections, the Mitchell name. Like you had? The words sliced through the air. Or wait, that was all fabricated, wasn't it? Adelaide, Ryan warned. No, let's talk about it. About how Margaret invented her whole background to trap your father. About how she's doing the same thing now, orchestrating this whole situation. That's enough. Margaret's mask cracked. You want to talk about traps? What do you call getting pregnant just as Ryan was finally seeing sense? Mom. Caleb stepped forward, but Margaret waved him off. We all know what this is, a desperate attempt to hold on to a family you were never meant to be part of. I laughed, the sound sharp and foreign. You think I want to be part of this family? After everything you've done? What I've done is protect my sons from making their father's mistake. By pushing Ryan into Claire's arms? By having her get pregnant first? The room went silent. Claire's face drained of color. What did you say? Ryan stood slowly. Ask your mother about the fertility clinic appointments she arranged for Claire. Ask her about the timing, how convenient it was that Claire got pregnant just as you were starting to question your mother's influence. That's ridiculous, Margaret snapped, but her eyes darted to Claire. Is it? I pulled out my phone, playing the voicemail I'd been saving. Claire's voice filled the room. Margaret, the doctor confirmed it. 3 months, just like you planned. Ryan won't be able to walk away now. The recording ended. Claire burst into tears. Ryan looked like he might be sick. You planned this, he whispered to his mother. All of it? Margaret's composure crumbled. I did what was necessary. That girl would have ruined you, just like my father was ruined? Ryan's voice rose. By marrying beneath him? By loving someone you didn't approve of? By being deceived? Margaret stood, her chair scraping back. And now you're doing the same thing. Adelaide's no different from me, lying, manipulating, using a baby to trap you. The difference is, I said quietly, I don't want your son. Or your name. Or anything else from this toxic family. Then what do you want? Margaret demanded. For my child to never know what it feels like to be a pawn in someone else's game. I turned to Ryan. I'm leaving town. Starting fresh somewhere else. You can tell everyone whatever story makes you look best. Addie, please. Ryan reached for me. I stepped back. Your mother won't stop. She'll always see me as our child, as a threat to her perfect world. And you'll always be caught between us, just like you are with Claire. I'll fix this, he pleaded. You can't. Because you're just like her, so afraid of losing control that you'll destroy anything real to maintain the illusion. I walked out, leaving them with their perfectly arranged lives and carefully constructed lies. In the driveway, Caleb caught up with me. What you said about leaving town. I meant it. He nodded. Take me with you. I stared at him, seeing the same desperate need for escape in his eyes that I felt in my soul. Behind us, raised voices spilled from the house, the sound of a family imploding under the weight of its own deceptions. Okay, I said. Let's go. The envelope arrived 3 days after Caleb and I left town. No return address, just my name in that same precise handwriting as the first letter. Inside was a single photograph, Margaret, decades younger, standing beside another woman who could have been her twin. Elizabeth, Caleb said, looking over my shoulder. Mom's sister. I haven't seen her since I was a kid. We sat in my mother's vacation cottage, boxes still unpacked around us. The photo trembled in my hands. Why would she send this now? My phone rang, an unknown number. I answered on speaker. Hello, Adelaide. The voice was eerily similar to Margaret's, but softer. I believe it's time we met. An hour later, we sat across from Elizabeth Mitchell in a quiet cafe. She looked like Margaret's ghost, same aristocratic features, but worn by time and hardship instead of preserved by privilege. I sent the first letter, she said without preamble. About Ryan and Claire. Caleb's coffee cup clattered against its saucer. What? I've watched Margaret destroy lives for 30 years. When I heard about you, Adelaide, I knew she'd do it again. So you decided to destroy my life instead? The words tasted bitter. I decided to give you a choice, something Margaret never gave me. Elizabeth's fingers traced the photo's edge. She didn't just steal my fiancé, you know. She stole my entire life. My identity. Used it to create her perfect society marriage. That's impossible, Caleb whispered. Is it? Ask yourself why there are no family photos before your parents' wedding. Why Margaret never talks about her childhood. She took everything, my background, my connections, even my name. Elizabeth Margaret Mitchell became just Margaret Mitchell, while I became no one. My hand instinctively moved to my stomach. Why tell us now? Because history's repeating itself. Margaret orchestrating Claire's pregnancy, pushing Ryan to choose the right path. She's still trying to control the narrative, create her perfect family story. At what cost? Caleb's voice cracked. That's what I wanted Adelaide to see. Before it was too late. My phone buzzed, Ryan calling. Again. He's been trying to reach you, Caleb said quietly. I know. Elizabeth leaned forward. Margaret will never stop. She'll use both babies to maintain her control. Unless. Unless what? Unless you do what I never could. Tell the truth. All of it. The phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Sam, Ryan's here at the studio looking for you. Says it's about Margaret. I have to go back, I said, standing. Addie, no, Caleb started. Not to stay. To finish this. For all of us. I looked at Elizabeth. Will you help? She smiled, a real smile, nothing like Margaret's practiced version. I've waited 30 years to tell my story. The drive back felt like moving through a dream. We found Ryan at my studio, looking haunted. "Mom's in the hospital," he said when he saw us. She tried to. "Is she okay?" Caleb asked. "Physically, yes. But she keeps asking for you, Addie." "And Elizabeth?" Elizabeth stepped out from behind me. Ryan stumbled back. "Hello, nephew," she said softly. "I don't understand." "You will." I moved past him to unlock the studio. "Call Margaret's doctor. Tell her to expect visitors. It's time for a family reunion." "Adelaide," Ryan caught my arm. "I left Claire. After what Mom did. I couldn't. This isn't about us anymore," I pulled away gently. "It's about breaking a cycle. For all our children." In the fading light, I watched Ryan make the call, saw Caleb embrace his aunt, felt my baby move for the first time. Small moments of truth breaking through decades of lies. "Ready?" Elizabeth asked. I nodded, thinking of Margaret in her hospital bed, finally forced to face the ghosts of her past. "Ready?" Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone. Sometimes it's about forcing them to see their own reflection, unfiltered by the lies they've built their life upon. Margaret's hospital room felt smaller than it should have, crowded with the weight of decades of lies. She lay propped against white pillows, her perfect facade cracked by exhaustion and something that looked almost like fear. Elizabeth. The name escaped her lips like a ghost. "Hello, Margaret. Or should I say, little sister?" I stayed by the door while Elizabeth approached the bed, the truth stretched between them like a tightrope. Ryan and Caleb flanked their mother, watching this stranger who wore her face. "You had no right," Margaret whispered. "To what?" "My own life? The one you stole? I made something of it. Something better than you ever could." Elizabeth pulled out the old photograph. "Better? You built an empire on lies, Margaret. And now it's crumbling, just like mine did 30 years ago." Margaret's hands trembled. "I protected my family." "No," I stepped forward. "You controlled them. There's a difference." "Adelaide," Ryan reached for me, but I shook my head. "I'm not here for reconciliation. I'm here so your children can understand why their mother would rather destroy their happiness than lose her grip on the narrative." "They don't need to know," Margaret started. "We already do," Caleb interrupted. "About Claire, about Elizabeth, about everything." "It's over, Mom." Margaret's composure shattered. "I did it for you. Both of you. I gave you the life I never had. You gave us lies," Ryan's voice cracked. "And now there are 2 children who'll pay the price. Unless we break the cycle," I said, touching my stomach. "Right here. Right now." Elizabeth placed the photograph on Margaret's bed. "Tell them the truth, Margaret. All of it. Or I will." The silence stretched, filled with the beeping of hospital monitors and the weight of unspoken confessions. Finally, Margaret spoke, her voice small. "I was nobody. Elizabeth was everything, beautiful, sophisticated, engaged to the perfect man. I needed to be me," Elizabeth finished. "To be better than you." The truth spilled out, how Margaret had stolen her sister's identity while Elizabeth was traveling abroad. How she'd stepped into her life so seamlessly that even their parents couldn't prove otherwise. How she'd married Elizabeth's fiancé, built her perfect world on a foundation of carefully constructed lies. "And now?" I asked when she finished. "What happens to your perfect world?" Margaret looked at her sons, then at me. "You'll tell everyone." "No," Elizabeth said. "You will. Because if you don't, if you try to maintain this facade, you'll lose them anyway. Look what it's already cost you." Ryan moved to the window, his shoulders tight. "Claire lost the baby. The stress." My heart clenched, not for the loss of Margaret's planned perfection, but for the innocent life caught in her web of manipulation. "I'm leaving town," I announced. Not running away, but moving forward. My child deserves a fresh start, away from all this. Our child, Ryan said quietly. No. My child. Who will know the truth about everything, their history, their family, their worth, without it being filtered through someone else's expectations. Caleb stepped forward. I'm still coming with you. Margaret made a small, broken sound. Not to escape, he told her. But to help build something real. Something honest. I looked at Elizabeth, who nodded slightly. We'd given Margaret her moment of reckoning. Now it was time to leave her with the consequences of her choices. At the door, I turned back one last time. The irony is, Margaret, if you'd just been yourself, told the truth from the beginning, you might have had everything you wanted anyway. Real love. Real family. Real respect. How can you be so sure, she whispered. Because I'm choosing truth over perfection. And I've never felt stronger. We left Margaret with Elizabeth, two sisters separated by decades of lies, finally facing their shared reflection. Ryan followed us into the hallway. Addie, please. Goodbye, Ryan. Break the cycle your own way. I'll break it mine. Outside, the morning sun painted everything in new light. Caleb loaded our bags while I looked back at the hospital one last time, thinking about cycles of revenge and redemption. About the difference between running away and walking forward. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't in destroying someone's perfect lie, but in living your own perfect truth.
I still remember the exact shade of blue in that living room, the way afternoon light filtered through gauzy curtains, casting shadows across Aunt Catherine's perfectly arranged throw pillows, the way my mother's hands trembled as she gripped her teacup, the way my cousin Clara's patent leather shoes gleamed as she crossed and uncrossed her ankles, a smirk playing at the corners of her mouth. I'm Madison, and that was the day I learned that family could steal more than just money. They could steal your future and call it love. Madison, dear, Aunt Catherine's voice dripped honey and poison. We need to discuss your college fund. I was 17, straight-A student, early acceptance to Northwestern. The fund had been building since I was born, my father's life insurance, plus every spare dollar my mother could scrape together. $87,000, not enough for 4 years, but enough to start. What about it? I asked, though my stomach was already clenching. Well, Catherine glanced at my mother, who suddenly found her teacup fascinating. We had to make a difficult decision. Clara's opportunity at La Rosie was too good to pass up. The connections she'll make there. You understand, don't you? The room started spinning. What are you saying? I borrowed your college fund, Catherine said simply, for Clara's finishing school in Switzerland. Clara's smirk widened. She was wearing a pearl necklace I'd never seen before. Borrowed? My voice cracked. When were you planning to tell me? When were you planning to pay it back? Now, Madison, my mother finally spoke, her voice weak, your aunt has always been generous with us. Generous? I stood up so fast my knee hit the coffee table. Tea sloshed over expensive china. That money was mine, Dad's insurance. You're being hysterical, Catherine cut in sharply. This is exactly why we waited to tell you. Clara needed this opportunity. You're smart enough to get scholarships. Or student loans, Clara added helpfully. Lots of people take loans. I turned to my mother, waiting for her to defend me, to say something. Anything. She just stared at her lap. You're jealous, Catherine declared, as if diagnosing a disease. I knew you would be. Clara has certain advantages, natural grace, social intelligence, things that can't be taught in public school. I laughed then, a horrible sound that scared even me. Advantages? Like a stolen education? That's enough, Catherine stood, her face flushed. I won't be accused of theft in my own home, not by an ungrateful child who clearly needs to learn some hard lessons about life. I ran out of that house and didn't stop until my lungs were burning. Later that night, I heard my mother on the phone with Catherine. She'll get over it. Yes, you're right. Just jealousy. They were right about one thing. I did learn some hard lessons. I worked 3 jobs through community college, transferred to a state school, graduated with honours and enough debt to choke on. Every rejection, every double shift, every missed opportunity became fuel. Now, 15 years later, I'm Director of Talent Acquisition at Morton & Price, one of the top marketing firms in Chicago. My office has a view of Lake Michigan. I wear designer suits and make more in bonuses than Aunt Catherine's house is worth. And today, Karma dropped a gift in my inbox. Madison, my assistant Sarah pokes her head in, the applications for the junior executive position are ready for review. Thanks, bring them in. She places the stack on my desk. I flip through them idly until a familiar name stops my heart. Clara Simmons. The same Clara who went to La Rosie. The same Clara who's been floating between jobs at her mother's friends' companies. The same Clara who probably doesn't even remember her cousin Madison. The jealous one, the difficult one, the one who couldn't appreciate the importance of natural grace. I pick up my phone. Sarah, schedule an interview with Clara Simmons for tomorrow morning, first slot. My hand doesn't shake as I pour myself a coffee. The view from my office is particularly beautiful today. I think about that blue living room, about borrowed money that was never meant to be returned, about a mother's silence and an aunt's venom. They shouldn't have underestimated the jealous loser. They really shouldn't have. I smile as I open Clara's resume. Time to show my dear cousin exactly what public school taught me about hard lessons. Clara still walks like she owns every room she enters. I watch through my office window as she charms the receptionist, her designer handbag swinging carelessly from her elbow. 15 years, and she hasn't changed a bit. Miss Holland, Sarah appears at my door. Your 9 o'clock is here. Give me 2 minutes, then send her in. I adjust my posture, straighten my already straight desk items. The door opens, and there she is. Perfect blonde waves, Chanel suit, that same entitled smile. Good morning, I say, not rising from my chair. Please, have a seat. She settles gracefully into the chair across from me, crossing her legs at the ankle, just like that day in the blue living room. Thank you so much for seeing me. I'm really excited about this opportunity. I let the silence stretch just a beat too long before speaking. Tell me about your experience. Well, I graduated from La Rosie. It's a prestigious finishing school in Switzerland, and then completed my business degree at NYU. She leans forward slightly, practiced enthusiasm in her voice. I've held several positions in marketing and brand management. Several positions in how many years? Her smile flickers. I believe in exploring different opportunities. Each role taught me something valuable. I see. I glance at her resume. And these references, they're all family friends? They're important business connections, she corrects, a edge creeping into her voice. My mother has an extensive network. Ah, yes, Catherine always did know how to network. I watch her face carefully. Tell me about your biggest professional challenge. Clara launches into a clearly rehearsed story about coordinating a charity gala. I let her talk, noting how she emphasizes the guest list but skims over actual results. Interesting, I interrupt. And how did you handle the budget? The budget? Yes, the financial planning, cost control, ROI metrics, basic business fundamentals. She shifts in her chair. Well, we had donors, of course, and my mother's friends were very supportive. So you've never managed your own project budget? I press. Never had to make difficult financial decisions? I'm a quick learner, she says defensively, and I have excellent people skills. People skills. I stand up and walk to my window, like knowing when someone's money might be better spent on your education than their own. Excuse me, I turn back to face her. The position requires strong ethical judgment, Clara. How would you handle a situation where someone's resources were redistributed without their consent. Her perfectly shaped eyebrows draw together. I'm not sure I understand the question. No? I sit on the edge of my desk. Let me be more specific. If you found out someone had stolen from you, say, a college fund, what would you do? The colour drains from her face. Slowly, recognition dawns in her eyes. Madison? Hello, Clara? She stands abruptly, her composure cracking. I had no idea it was you. You look so different. Amazing what hard work can do, even without the advantage of Swiss finishing school. That was years ago, she stammers. I was just a teenager. Mother said that I was jealous, that I needed to learn hard lessons. I keep my voice perfectly level. Oh, I learned them. I didn't know it was your money, she whispers. Mother said it was a family fund, that she had every right to steal my father's life insurance, to rob me of my education. I smile, and she takes a step back. Sit down, Clara, the interview isn't over. She sinks back into the chair, her earlier confidence evaporated. Now, I continue, picking up her resume. Let's talk about these impressive positions you've held, the ones your mother's friends gave you, the ones you didn't earn. Please, she says, I need this job. My last position didn't work out. Running out of family friends to employ you? Tears well in her eyes. I'm not the same person I was then. I've grown up. Have you? I lean forward. Because from where I'm sitting, you're still living off other people's opportunities, still expecting things to be handed to you. What are you going to do? She asks quietly. I stand and smooth my skirt. That depends entirely on you, Clara. The position requires a 3-month probationary period. Think you can handle earning something for once? She nods quickly, desperately. Good, HR will be in touch. I open my office door. Oh, and Clara, do give my best to Catherine. Tell her the jealous loser says hello. She practically runs from my office. I watch her retreat, her perfect posture finally broken. Sarah appears with a concerned look. Everything okay? She seemed upset. Everything's perfect, I reply, sitting back at my desk. Schedule her for orientation next week, and Sarah, make sure she's assigned to Zara's team. The game is just beginning. You're playing with fire, Gavin says, swirling his whiskey. We're at Cooper's, our usual Friday spot, tucked into a corner booth, away from the after-work crowd. And you know it. I'm giving her a chance, I reply, stabbing at my salad. More than she gave me. Gavin's been my friend since college, since the days when I was juggling classes with waitressing shifts. Now he's head of HR, and probably the only person who knows the full story. A chance to what? Fail spectacularly? He leans forward. Madison, I've known you too long. This isn't about giving chances. You should see her resume. I pull out my phone, showing him the PDF. Look at these references. All Catherine's country club friends, all made-up titles and inflated responsibilities. And you're going to expose her? No. I smile. I'm going to let her expose herself. My phone buzzes. An email from our IT department. I requested access to Clara's previous employment records. What I find makes my smile widen. Remember that Goldman internship I applied for in college? The one that ghosted me after 3 interviews? Gavin nods. The one that would have paid enough for your textbooks that semester. Guess who got it instead? I turn my phone to show him. Clara, and guess who was on the hiring committee? Catherine, Gavin groans, your aunt really is something else. She didn't just take my college fund, she was actively sabotaging me. I drain my wine glass, and Clara knew. She had to have known. So what's your plan? I've assigned her to work under Zara, sweet, brilliant Zara, who worked her way up from the mailroom, who takes no shit and gives no passes. Gavin whistles low. That's cruel. That's karma. I signal for another wine. Clara's never had a real boss, Never had real deadlines, never had consequences. And Zara doesn't know about your history? No one does, except you. I pause as the server brings my drink, and I'd like to keep it that way. Your secret's safe, but Madison... He reaches across the table, covers my hand with his. Don't let this consume you. I watched you fight your way up. You're better than revenge. Am I? I pull my hand away, because some days revenge feels like the only thing I'm good at. My phone buzzes again. Zara requesting a meeting. Perfect. I should go, I stand, gathering my things. Early meeting tomorrow. Madison, Gavin's voice stops me. Just be careful, karma works both ways. Back at my apartment, I pore through Clara's employment history. Each job lasted less than a year. Each reference leads back to Catherine's social circle. But there's something else. A pattern of projects started, but never completed, of responsibilities shifted to others. My laptop pings with a new email. From Clara. Dear Madison, I know no apology can make up for what happened, but I want you to know that I truly didn't understand the full situation then. I was young and privileged and blind. I'd like to earn your respect if you'll give me the chance. Clara, I laugh out loud. Earn my respect? After 15 years of coasting on stolen opportunities? I draft my response carefully. Clara, your performance will speak for itself. I suggest focusing on your upcoming project with Zara, rather than the past. Madison, the next morning, I meet with Zara in my office. She's sharp, ambitious, everything Clara isn't. I need you to lead the Thompson account rebranding, I tell her, and I want Clara on your team. Zara raises an eyebrow. The new hire? Is she ready for something this big? That's what we're going to find out. I hand her the brief. Full creative control. Just keep me updated on her progress. You're giving a rookie our biggest account. Zara looks skeptical. There's something you're not telling me. I have my reasons, I say smoothly. Consider it a test for both of you. After she leaves, I pull up my personal email. There's a message from my mother, the first in months. Catherine told me Clara's working for you now. Be professional about this, Madison. The past is the past. The past is the past. Easy for them to say when they were the ones who stole my future. I close the email without responding and pull up the Thompson brief. Clara's first real test starts tomorrow. Time to see what she's made of when Daddy's friends aren't there to catch her. My office phone rings. It's Zara again. Yes? Clara just asked if she could work remotely this week. Something about a charity event her mother's hosting. I smile. Some things never change. Tell her no. In fact, tell her she needs to be here an hour early tomorrow. We have work to do. Let the lessons begin. The client meeting is in 45 minutes, Zara announces to her team. Clara, where's the presentation? I watch through the conference room glass as Clara fumbles with her laptop. I'm just finalizing some details. Finalizing? Zara's voice carries that dangerous calm I've come to appreciate. The deck was due yesterday. I know, but I had this concept for a more innovative approach. Show me what you have. Clara projects her screen. Even from my vantage point, I can see it's mostly template slides with placeholder text. 2 weeks of work, and she's produced nothing. This is unacceptable, Zara says flatly. The Thompson account is worth millions. What exactly have you been doing? I've been networking, building relationships. That's what marketing is about, right? I step into the conference room. Is there a problem? Clara's face floods with relief. Madison, I was just explaining my relationship-focused strategy. Where's the market research? I interrupt. The competitive analysis? The actual marketing plan? She glances around desperately. I thought Zara's team would handle the technical details while I focused on the big picture. The big picture? Zara looks ready to explode. You were assigned specific deliverables with deadlines, which you've missed, all of them. I remember missing a deadline once during my waitressing days. The manager had docked my pay and made me work double shifts to make up for it. Clara's never had a double shift in her life. Perhaps, I say carefully, Clara needs a more structured approach. Zara, could you walk her through basic project management? Start with the fundamentals? Clara's face burns red. I have a business degree. Then prove it, Zara snaps, because right now all I see is someone who expects others to do her work. I leave them to it, but 20 minutes later, Zara storms into my office. This isn't working, she declares. She's incompetent, entitled, and she's going to tank this account. Give her time, I say mildly. Some people need to learn the hard way. Learn what? How to do basic work? Zara paces. Yesterday she tried to expense a $200 lunch because, and I quote, networking is part of the job. I hide my smile. How did you handle it? I made her pay it back and sent her our expense policy. Again. Zara stops pacing. Madison, what's really going on here? You're too smart to put a rookie on our biggest account without a reason. I have my reasons. Does it have anything to do with how you started? She asks quietly. Working your way up from nothing. I freeze. What do you mean? I did my research when I started here. You're kind of a legend in the company. The girl who worked as a janitor through college, who never took handouts, who earned everything she has. Zara sits down. Is this some kind of object lesson for Clara? Something like that, I admit carefully. Well, it's working. I told her your story yesterday. Hope you don't mind. The look on her face. Zara shakes her head, like she'd seen a ghost. My stomach tightens. What exactly did you tell her? Just that you worked cleaning offices while getting your degree, that you lived on ramen and determination, that you're proof that privilege isn't a prerequisite for success. Zara stands. I thought it might motivate her. Show her what real work looks like. After she leaves, I sit in silence. Clara knows now, knows exactly who she's dealing with. Part of me wants to call Zara back, tell her everything, but the professional mask stays in place. My phone buzzes, a text from Clara. Can we talk, please? My office, 5 p.m, I reply. She appears exactly at 5, looking less polished than usual. I had no idea about you working as a cleaner. No, you wouldn't have, I say coldly. You were too busy in Switzerland. Madison, Save it. Your presentation to Thompson is in 2 days. I suggest you focus on that instead of ancient history. She doesn't move. How did you do it? Work full-time and study? I didn't have a choice. Someone stole my choices, remember? She flinches. I want to make it right. Then do your job. Actually do it. No shortcuts, no excuses, no running to mommy's friends when things get hard. After she leaves, I pull up my own presentation from the archives, the one I created while working night shifts, the one that got me my first promotion. I send it to Zara with a note, show her what good looks like, then make her do better. Sometimes the best revenge is forcing someone to earn what they thought they deserved all along. My phone buzzes again, Aunt Catherine's number. I silence it without answering. Let her wonder. Let her worry. The game is changing, but I'm still dealing the cards. The Thompson presentation is a disaster. Clara stumbles through half-baked concepts while our biggest client checks their phones. I watch from the back of the room, letting her sink. Sometimes drowning is the only way to learn how to swim. Thank you for your unique perspective, Thompson's CEO says when she finally finishes. We'll be in touch. Everyone knows what that means. As the client files out, Clara stands frozen at the podium, her hands shaking. Zara shoots me a look that clearly says, I told you so. I'm about to leave when Clara's voice cuts through the emptying room. "This is cruel, even for you." "Excuse me?" I turn slowly. "You set me up to fail." Her voice rises. "You put me on this account knowing I wasn't ready, because you wanted revenge." "Revenge?" I laugh. "Clara, this is just business. Real business, not the kind your mother's friends pretend to do." "Stop it!" She slams her laptop shut. "I know what you're doing, making me look incompetent, humiliating me in front of clients." "You did that all by yourself," I interrupt. "I gave you a chance to prove yourself. You proved exactly what I expected, because you wanted me to fail." No, because you never learned to succeed." I step closer. "Because everything in your life has been handed to you, including my future." The conference room door opens. Zara stands there, eyes wide. "I should come back." "No, stay," Clara says bitterly. "You should hear this. Did you know your boss is only torturing me because my mother used my college fund for my education?" "Your college fund?" I feel something snap inside me. "It wasn't yours. It was mine. My father's life insurance. Every penny my mother saved. While your mother was buying you designer clothes, mine was working double shifts to build that fund." Zara gasps softly. Clara's face goes pale. "But that's not even the worst part," I continue, ice in my voice. "The worst part was how you all treated me afterward. Like I was crazy for being upset. Like I was jealous for wanting what was rightfully mine." "I didn't know," Clara whispers. "Mother said it was family money, that she had permission." "Permission from who? My dead father, my spineless mother." "Madison," Zara steps forward, "maybe we should take a break." "No." Clara straightens her spine. "Let her finish. Let her tell everyone how she's been plotting her revenge all these years, how she hired me just to watch me fail." "You think this is about watching you fail?" I laugh again, harder this time. "Clara, I hired you because I wanted you to finally earn something, to feel what it's like to work for your success instead of having it handed to you." "That's not fair. I worked." "You've never worked a day in your life." My voice echoes off the glass walls. "You've coasted on stolen opportunities and family connections. Well, guess what? In this office, your mother's country club friends can't save you." Clara's phone buzzes. She glances at it, and something changes in her expression. "Speaking of mother," she answers, putting it on speaker. "Mother, I'm with Madison right now." "Clara, darling," Catherine's voice fills the room. "I just heard from the Thompsons. What is that cousin of yours playing at?" "Tell her, Madison," Clara says quietly. "Tell her what you're playing at." But I'm frozen, hearing that voice again. That honey-coated, manipulative voice that ruined my life. "Hello, Catherine," I manage. A pause. "Madison? Well, this is unexpected. I trust you're treating my daughter professionally." "As professionally as you treated me when you stole my future." "Oh, darling, still holding on to that. It was for the best. Look how well you turned out. Character building, really." "Character building?" My voice shakes. "Is that what we're calling theft now?" "It wasn't theft," Catherine says smoothly. "Your mother agreed it was the right decision. She signed the papers herself." The room starts spinning. "What papers?" "The transfer documents, of course. She signed over the entire fund, said you needed to learn self-reliance." A cruel laugh. I suppose she was right. I look at Clara, at Zara, at my perfectly ordered world crumbling around me. My mother didn't just stay silent. She actively participated in my destruction. "Madison?" Zara touches my arm. "Are you okay?" I'm not okay. I'm 17 again, watching my future disappear in a blue living room. But this time, the betrayal cuts deeper. "Thank you, Catherine," I say coldly. "You've been very informative." I end the call and turn to Clara. "Congratulations. You're fired. Madison, get out, both of you. Alone in the conference room, I stare at my reflection in the darkened windows. I thought I was orchestrating the perfect revenge. Instead, I've uncovered an even darker truth. My phone buzzes. A text from my mother. Catherine called. We should talk. Yes, I think we absolutely should. My mother's house looks exactly the same. Same faded curtains, same worn welcome mat, same careful poverty that came after my father died. I stand at the door, key in hand, wondering how many extra shifts she worked to build that fund she so easily signed away. Madison? She opens the door before I can knock. I was hoping you'd come. Were you? I step past her into the house. Like you hoped I'd understand when you gave away my college fund? She sighs, following me to the kitchen. It's not that simple. Then explain it to me. I turn to face her. Explain why you signed those papers, why you let Catherine steal my future. I didn't. She busies herself making tea, hands shaking just like that day in Catherine's living room. Your aunt can be very persuasive. Persuasive enough to make you betray your own daughter. The teacup clatters against the saucer. I thought I was helping you. Catherine said you needed to learn independence, that you were too soft, too sheltered. Sheltered? I laugh harshly. I was working part-time jobs since I was 14, while Clara was getting manicures and shopping sprees. That's exactly why. She turns to me, eyes bright with tears. You were so responsible, so capable. Catherine said Clara needed the advantages more than you did, that you would find a way, that you were stronger. Stop. My voice cuts through her excuses. Just stop. You didn't do this to make me stronger. You did it because you were weak. She flinches. Madison, you let Catherine manipulate you, just like always. You chose her daughter over your own. And then you lied about it for 15 years. I was trying to protect you. From what? Success, opportunities, a future without crushing debt. She sinks into a kitchen chair. From becoming like Clara, entitled, dependent, soft. Well, congratulations. I sit across from her. I'm none of those things. I'm hard as nails. I'm successful. I'm everything you and Catherine said I needed to be. Happy? Are you? She asked quietly. Are you happy, Madison? The question hits me like a slap. I'm surviving, no thanks to you. Catherine called me yesterday, she says, staring into her tea. Said you hired Clara just to torture her. Is that true? I hired her to teach her a lesson, the same lesson you and Catherine decided I needed to learn. And did it help? Did hurting her heal anything? I stand up abruptly. Don't you dare lecture me about hurting people. You and Catherine destroyed my life and called it character building. At least I'm honest about my revenge. You're right. Her voice is barely a whisper. I was weak. I let Catherine convince me it was for the best. I've regretted it every day since. Regret doesn't pay student loans, I snap. It doesn't erase years of struggling, of feeling betrayed by my own mother. No, she agrees, it doesn't. But Madison, don't let this make you like them. Don't let bitterness eat away everything good in you. Everything good in me? I laugh again, that same horrible sound from 15 years ago. You and Catherine killed everything good in me that day. You taught me that family means nothing, that trust is for fools, that the only person I can count on is myself. She starts crying then, silent tears rolling down her cheeks. I'm so sorry. I know it's not enough, but I am so sorry. Keep your apology. I grab my purse. I didn't come here for that. I came to tell you that I know the truth now, all of it, and I'm done with both you and Catherine. Please, she stands reaching for me. Don't go like this. We can fix this. Fix it? I pull away. Some things can't be fixed, Mum. You taught me that too. My phone buzzes. A text from Gavin. Clara's lawyer called. Wrongful termination suit. Need to talk ASAP. Perfect. Just perfect. I have to go, I tell my mother. Work emergency. Madison, wait. She hurries to a drawer, pulls out an envelope. I've been saving. It's not much, but maybe it can start to make things right. I don't take it. Keep your money. I stopped needing your help a long time ago. The drive back to my office is a blur. My phone keeps buzzing. Gavin, Zara, unknown numbers that are probably Clara's lawyers. I ignore them all. In my office, I pull up Clara's termination paperwork. Everything's documented. Her missed deadlines, failed presentation, unprofessional behaviour. I've played this perfectly legal, perfectly cruel, just like Catherine taught me. I catch my reflection in the window, and for a moment I see her there. That same calculated smile, that same cold efficiency. My mother's question echoes. Are you happy, Madison? I close my laptop. No, I'm not happy, but I'm not done either. Time to end this, once and for all. You want to do what? Gavin stares at me like I've lost my mind. Reinstate her, I repeat, but not in her previous role, entry-level, administrative assistant. Let her earn her way up. And the lawsuit? She'll drop it. I hand him my phone, showing Clara's latest message. I don't want to fight. I just want a chance to prove myself. Madison, Gavin leans forward across his desk. Are you sure about this? No, I admit, but I'm sure about one thing. I don't want to become Catherine. The company's annual conference is next week. I'm scheduled to give the keynote speech about leadership and success. Perfect timing. Clara accepts the offer. She shows up Monday morning in a simple black dress, no designer labels in sight. I watch from my office as Zara shows her to a tiny cubicle outside the executive suite. Your first task, I hear Zara say, is organising the conference materials. Every packet needs to be perfect. The week passes. Clara works late every night, double-checking spreadsheets, correcting formatting errors. No complaints, no calls to mommy. I pretend not to notice. Conference day arrives. The ballroom is packed with industry leaders, including the Thompson team. Clara sits in the back, barely visible behind a pillar. I take the stage. Success, I begin, is a funny thing. We think we know what it looks like. Designer suits, corner offices, Swiss finishing schools. A ripple of laughter. But true success isn't about what's handed to you. It's about what you earn. I see Clara shift in her seat. 15 years ago, I was cleaning offices at night to pay for college. My education fund had been redistributed. Family decisions, they called it. Character building. The room goes quiet. I learned some hard lessons about trust, about family, about the difference between being given something and earning it. I pause, finding Clara's eyes in the crowd. But the hardest lesson was this. Revenge might feel like justice, but it turns you into exactly what you're fighting against. Catherine's words echo in my head. Look how well you turned out. Success isn't about destroying others to lift yourself up. It's about rising above what was done to you, about being better than those who hurt you. My voice carries across the silent room. Sometimes the biggest victory is choosing not to become what made you suffer. After the speech, people crowd around, sharing their own stories of struggle and redemption. I notice Clara slip out a side door. Later, at the reception, she finds me by the bar. Thank you, she says quietly, for not destroying me publicly. Karma didn't need help with that. She smiles slightly. No, it didn't. She takes a deep breath. I called Mother yesterday, told her I'm not accepting her help anymore, that I need to do this on my own. And, she cried, said I was being dramatic, that I was throwing away my advantages. Clara sips her water. Funny thing is, for the first time in my life, I feel like I might actually have an advantage, seeing clearly what I don't want to become. Zara appears beside us. Clara, the Thompson team wants to see the new proposal drafts. On it, Clara nods, turning to go. She pauses. Madison, I know it doesn't fix anything, but I truly am sorry for everything. I watch her hurry off, manila folders clutched to her chest, no designer handbag in sight. She's different, Zara observes, actually doing the work, learning. Sometimes the best revenge is forcing someone to grow up, I reply. My phone buzzes. Catherine, I answer it this time. That was quite a speech, she says. Very dramatic, very public. Truth often is. Clara tells me she's working as a secretary now, after all we did to give her advantages. No, I cut her off. After all you stole to give her advantages. There's a difference. You're just like your mother, she sneers. So self-righteous. Actually, I smile into the phone, I'm nothing like her. Or you, and that's the best revenge of all. I hang up as Fernando, our CEO, approaches. Brilliant speech, he says. The Thompson team was impressed. They're staying with us. Want to work directly with you on their rebranding. Thank you, but I'd like to suggest a joint lead on the account. Me and Zara. He raises an eyebrow. And Clara? I watch her across the room, earnestly explaining something to a client. She'll earn her way up, the right way this time. Later, alone in my office, I find a note on my desk. In Clara's handwriting, you could have destroyed me. Instead, you forced me to grow. I'm learning that's the harder path, for both of us. Thank you for choosing it. I pin it to my wall, a reminder that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all, it's growth. The envelope from my mother sits unopened on my desk. 3 weeks since our confrontation, and I still can't bring myself to open it. You should read it, Gavin says, leaning against my office doorframe. Whatever it is, it can't be worse than imagining. Want to bet? But I pick up the envelope anyway. Inside is a letter and a cheque. The cheque makes my heart stop. $87,000. Exactly the amount Catherine took. The letter is short. I've been saving since that day. Every extra shift, every bonus, every penny I could spare. It's not enough to erase what I did, but maybe it's enough to start healing. I miss my daughter. Mom. My hands shake as I dial her number. Madison? She answers on the first ring. I wasn't sure you'd call. The money, my voice cracks. How did you? I picked up night shifts at the hospital, worked holidays, did what you had to do back then. She pauses. I know it's too late, but I needed you to know I never stopped trying to make it right. Something breaks inside me. Not like before, not shattering, but softening. Have dinner with me, I say suddenly, tonight. We meet at the diner where I used to work during college. She's already there, looking smaller than I remember. I can't accept this. I slide the cheque across the table. Please, she pushes it back. Let me do this one thing right. Mom, I take a deep breath. You working yourself to death doesn't fix what happened. No, she agrees, but maybe it shows you I finally understand what I did wrong. The waitress brings coffee. My mother stirs hers endlessly, just like she used to. Catherine called again, she says. Wanted me to talk to you about Clara. And I told her to leave you alone, that she'd done enough damage. She looks up. I should have said that 15 years ago. Before I can respond, the diner door chimes. Clara walks in, stops short when she sees us. I'm sorry, she starts to back away. I didn't know. Stay, I surprise myself saying. Please. She slides into our booth, looking between us uncertainly. How's the admin work? I ask. Humbling, she admits, but good. Zara's tough but fair. I'm learning more than I ever did in Switzerland. My mother watches us, tears in her eyes. You two were so close once, before money poisoned everything, Clara finishes. She pulls something from her bag, an old photo. 3 smiling girls at a beach, Me, Clara, and Clara's sister. Found this while cleaning out Mother's study. I remember that day, before college funds and finishing schools, before betrayal became a family tradition. I got accepted to teaching certification, Clara says quietly, starting next semester. No family connections, no borrowed opportunities, just me. Teaching? My mother looks surprised. What does Catherine think? She doesn't know, and for the first time, I don't care. Clara straightens. I'm done living her version of success. I think about the check in my purse, about 15 years of anger, about how revenge didn't feel half as good as watching Clara grow up at last. Keep the money, I tell my mother. Put it in a scholarship fund for students who have to clean offices to get through college. Madison, I mean it. I reach for her hand. I don't need it anymore. I built my own success. Let it help someone else do the same. Clara stands abruptly. I should go. Zara wants the quarterly reports by morning. As she leaves, my mother squeezes my hand. You did that. You showed her a better way. Maybe we all needed a better way. Back in my office that night, I find a post-it on my computer. Clara's handwriting. Thank you for making me earn my place, even if I hated you for it. I smile, adding it to her other note on my wall. My phone buzzes. Catherine. This time, I block the number. The city lights twinkle beyond my window. Somewhere out there, Clara's probably still working on those reports. My mother's probably planning that scholarship fund. And me? I'm sitting in an office I earned, surrounded by success I built, finally free of the weight of revenge. I never got my money back, just my power. And something else. Something better than revenge or justice or even success. I got to choose who I became. And I chose not to become Catherine. I chose to become myself instead. That's worth more than $87,000. That's worth everything.
I remember the exact moment my life split in two. I was standing in our living room, staring at my full-ride scholarship letter while my mother's words hung in the air like poison. Esther, you need to understand your role in this family. I was 18 then, fresh-faced and naive. I'd worked myself to exhaustion for that scholarship, perfect grades, volunteer work, leadership roles, everything they'd asked of me, everything they said would make them proud. But, Mum, I earned this, I said, my voice barely a whisper. 4 years at Stanford, everything covered. My father cleared his throat from his leather armchair, not even looking up from his newspaper. Your sister's acceptance to Harvard is non-negotiable. The family name carries weight there. We can't afford both. Prudence sat on the couch, examining her manicure. At 15, she'd already mastered the art of pretending not to care while drinking in every moment of her triumph. It's not like you really wanted Stanford anyway, right, Essie? I've wanted it since I was 12, I said, gripping the letter tighter. Mum touched my shoulder, her diamond tennis bracelet catching the light. Darling, be reasonable. Prudence's test scores are exceptional. She's the promising one. Harvard will open doors that Stanford... Well? She paused, choosing her words carefully. You've always been adequate, Esther. Reliable. But Prudence, she's destined for greatness. The word adequate hit like a slap. I'd heard it before, of course, countless times. Adequate grades, they were perfect. Adequate achievements, I was class president. Adequate dreams, I wanted to revolutionize financial technology. What exactly are you asking me to do? I kept my voice steady, though my hands shook. Call Stanford, decline the scholarship. We'll help you apply to community college. Dad finally looked up. It's the responsible thing to do. The family thing, Mum added. Prudence stretched and stood up. I have dance practice. Can we wrap this up? Esther knows what she needs to do. I looked at each of them. Dad with his dismissive glance, Mum with her manipulative smile, Prudence with her entitled smirk. 15 years of being the adequate daughter crystallized in that moment. Fine, I said quietly. I'll make the call. Mum clapped her hands together.
Perfect. I knew you'd understand. Family first, always. She hurried off to the kitchen, probably to call her friends about Prudence's Harvard acceptance. That evening, I sat in my car outside the community college where I'd just registered for night classes. Tears burned in my eyes, but I wouldn't let them fall. My phone buzzed. A text from my new roommate, Laura, asking when I'd move in. Change of plans, I typed back. I'm staying local, working days, studying nights. Her response was immediate. What? Why? You got Stanford? I stared at the phone for a long time before responding. Family needed the money for Prudence. Harvard calls. 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times before her final message came through. That's fucked up, Esther. Like, seriously fucked up. I laughed. A hollow sound in my empty car. Yeah, I wrote back. It is. Starting my car, I caught my reflection in the rearview mirror. The adequate daughter. The reliable one. The sacrifice. They'll regret this, I whispered to my reflection. All of them. I drove home in silence, already plotting my next moves. Community college classes, a job at a local tech startup. Small steps, invisible steps. Let them think I'd accepted my role. Let them believe I was just adequate Esther, taking one for the team. Walking into the house, I heard Mom on the phone in the kitchen. Yes, both girls are exactly where they should be. Prudence is Harvard-bound, and Esther, well, she's found something suitable. You know how she is. Modest goals, modest abilities. I climbed the stairs to my room, each step cementing my resolve. They wanted modest. I'd show them modest. I'd build something so quietly, so carefully, they'd never see it coming until it was too late. In my room, I pinned my Stanford rejection letter, the one I'd written myself, on my bulletin board. Next to it, I placed a small note. Adequate is as adequate does. Let them have their golden child. Let them bask in Prudence's promised glory. I had work to do, and time was on my side. After all, karma doesn't work on anyone else's schedule. 8 years can change everything, and nothing at all. I sat in my modest apartment's kitchen, watching Laura pace while reading financial reports. Holy shit, Esther, holy shit! She slapped the papers down. You're telling me this tiny startup you invested in just got acquired for how much? 400 million, I said, sipping my coffee. My share works out to about 42 million after taxes. Laura collapsed into the chair across from me. And your family still thinks you're some kind of middle management nobody? I nodded, allowing myself a small smile. Last Christmas, Dad asked if I'd gotten that promotion to senior data entry specialist yet. And you just nodded and passed the potatoes, didn't you? Actually, I said I was still working on it, keeping expectations low. Laura threw her head back and laughed. You're evil. I love it. She sobered quickly. But seriously, E, you're a silent partner in 3 successful fintech startups. You've got more money than your entire family combined. Don't you think it's time to... To what? I cut her off. Show them they were wrong. Give them a chance to pretend they always believed in me. The doorbell rang. Laura raised an eyebrow. That'll be Darren with the contracts. I stood up, smoothing my simple black dress. Remember, he thinks I'm just another investor. The man's not stupid, Esther. He's been watching you for months. I opened the door to find Darren in his usual crisp suit, looking somewhat nervous. Ms. Emerson, he said formally, then spotted Laura. Oh, I didn't realize you had company. Laura's my lawyer, I said, gesturing him in. She reviews all my contracts. He set his briefcase on the table, stealing glances at my deliberately modest apartment. You know, most of our investors prefer to meet at their offices or homes. I prefer privacy, I replied, taking the contracts he offered. Less attention that way. Laura snorted. She means she's pathologically modest. Darren's eyes met mine. Somehow I doubt that's the whole story. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. Prudence's face lit up the screen. I declined the call. Your sister again? Laura asked. 3rd time today. She never calls unless she needs something. Darren looked between us. You have a sister? The promising one, Laura and I said in unison, then laughed. My phone buzzed again, a text this time. I read it aloud. "Essie, super urgent. Needs sister advice. Call me." Translation, Laura said. "She's in trouble and needs money." I turned to Darren. "The contracts look good. I'll wire the funds tomorrow." He hesitated. "There's something else. The board, we'd like you to consider taking a more active role. Your insights have been invaluable, and frankly, your background in—" "No public positions," I said firmly. "But why? You're brilliant at this. Your analysis of market trends alone." Laura interrupted. "Trust me, Darren, she has her reasons." My phone buzzed again. Mum this time. I showed Laura the text. "Esther, call your sister. Family emergency." "It's starting," Laura said quietly. Darren gathered his things, clearly sensing the tension. At the door he paused. "Whatever game you're playing, Miss Emerson, I hope you know what you're doing." After he left, Laura turned to me. "He likes you." "He likes my investment strategy." "No, he likes you, and you like him." I ignored her, reading another text from Mum. "Your sister's in trouble, real trouble. Be a good sister and help." Laura read over my shoulder. "What are you going to do?" I walked to my window, looking out at the city lights. "Wait." "For what?" "For them to realise how bad it is, for them to exhaust every other option, for them to have no choice but to beg the adequate daughter for help." I turned back to her. "You're going to have real power soon. What will you do with it?" I smiled, cold and certain. "Restore balance." Laura shivered. "Sometimes you scare me, E." "Good," I said, watching my phone light up with another desperate text, "because soon I'm going to scare them too." I picked up the startup's acquisition papers, worth more money than my parents had ever seen. 8 years of careful planning, of quiet investments, of playing the long game. 8 years of watching prudence burn through opportunities while I built my empire in silence. Let them call, let them text, let them panic. I'd waited 8 years for karma to come calling. I could wait a little longer for it to hit rock bottom. Christmas dinner at the Emerson house was always a performance, but this year's show was particularly fascinating. I sat quietly at my usual spot, watching Prudence push her food around her plate while Mom chatted about country club gossip. "And then Margaret's daughter bought that darling boutique downtown," Mom said, pointedly looking at Prudence. "The one you were interested in, dear." Prudence's fork clattered against her plate. "Can we not talk about the boutique?" I took a small bite of turkey, savouring more than just the food. "Oh, what happened with that?" "Nothing," Prudence snapped. "It just didn't work out." Dad cleared his throat. "Speaking of work, Esther, still at that data entry job?" "More or less," I said, helping myself to more potatoes. "It pays the bills. If you'd applied yourself more in school, like your sister—" He trailed off as Prudence suddenly stood up. "I need air," she announced, rushing from the table. Mum waited until the door slammed before turning to Dad. "We have to do something. The bank called again this morning." "Lower your voice," Dad hissed, glancing at me. I pretended to be very interested in my green beans. 8 years of practice made it easy to look oblivious. "She put the house up as collateral, Edgar," Mom whispered fiercely, "for that ridiculous boutique, and now with Jessie leaving—" "Jessie left?" I interrupted, letting genuine surprise colour my voice. Last I'd heard, Prudence's fiancé was still in the picture. Mum's face crumpled. "He found out about the credit cards and the loans. He said she was using him as a human ATM." "How much?" I asked quietly. "Esther, this doesn't concern—" "How much, Mum?" Dad's jaw clenched. 250,000, plus the mortgage she took out on her house. I whistled low. "That's a lot." "She was trying to maintain appearances," Mum defended. "After Harvard, certain things are expected, a lifestyle, connections." "And what exactly did Harvard get her?" The words slipped out before I could stop them. Dad's face darkened. "Now listen here." The back door opened and Prudence returned, mascara smeared. "Jessie's engaged," she announced to the silent room. To his secretary, that basic little nobody who probably shops at Target. I bit back a smile. There's nothing wrong with Target. Of course you'd say that, Prudence snapped. You've never aimed higher than mediocre. Prudence, Mum warned, but I raised my hand. No, let her finish. I'm curious what the Harvard graduate thinks about my life choices. Prudence's face crumpled. I can't do this right now. The bank is threatening foreclosure. Jessie's lawyer keeps calling about the money I borrowed, and the boutique's bankruptcy lawyer. If we don't figure something out soon, she'll go bankrupt, Mum whispered, horror in her voice. I stood up, gathering my plate. Well, this has been illuminating, but I should head home, early day tomorrow. That's it? Prudence's voice rose. Your sister tells you she's in trouble and you just leave? I turned at the door, taking in the scene. My sister, mascara-streaked and desperate. My mother, wringing her hands in her expensive blouse. My father, pride warring with panic on his face. What exactly do you expect me to do? I asked softly. I'm just adequate Esther, remember? The one with the modest goals and modest abilities? The silence was deafening. Merry Christmas, I said, and walked out. In my car, I pulled out my phone and texted Laura. It's happening. She's going under. Laura replied instantly. How bad? $250,000 plus mortgage debt. Jessie left her. Holy shit. What's your play? I started my car, watching through the window as my family huddled together in the dining room, probably brainstorming solutions that didn't involve the disappointing daughter. Wait for it, I typed. They'll call soon, when they've exhausted every other option, when they're desperate enough to beg. And then I smiled in the darkness. And then I show them exactly what adequate looks like. Driving home, I thought about the documents in my safe. The ones Laura had drawn up months ago when we first caught wind of Prudence's financial troubles. The ones that would make them face every choice, every dismissal, every moment they'd chosen her over me. My phone lit up with a text from Darren. Board meeting tomorrow. Sure you won't reconsider taking a public role? Not yet, I replied, but soon, very soon. The pieces were falling into place. All I had to do was wait for my family to realise their golden child had turned to lid. And then I'd show them what real power looks like. The first voicemail came on a Tuesday morning. I was in a board meeting when my phone lit up with Mum's number. Esther, sweetheart, her voice cracked through the speaker. I know we don't talk much, but please call me back. We need to talk. It's important. Family, important. I played it for Laura over lunch. She's crying, Laura noted, stirring her coffee. Your Ice Queen mother is actually crying. She cries when she needs something, I said. It's her specialty. My phone buzzed again. Another voicemail. Esther, please, we're running out of options. Your sister, she's not well. She needs her big sister. Just call me back. Laura raised an eyebrow. How many does this make? 4 today. She's getting desperate. And you're just going to keep ignoring them? I smiled. I'm waiting for... My phone rang. Dad's number. Him, I said, letting it go to voicemail. Laura leaned forward. Play it. Dad's voice was gruff, uncomfortable. Esther, your mother's upset. Call us back. We need to discuss some family matters. Nothing serious, just call us. Nothing serious? Laura scoffed. They're about to lose everything. My phone buzzed with a text from Darren. Missing you in the board meeting. The new acquisition needs your touch. Tell him you're dealing with family drama, Laura suggested. I typed back, family emergency brewing. Might need a few days soon. His response was immediate. Everything okay? Will be, I replied, then showed Laura my phone. He's been asking more questions lately. Because he's interested in more than your financial expertise, she smirked. When are you going to... My phone rang again. Dad. Answer it this time, Laura urged. Make them work for it. I picked up on the 4th ring. Hello? Finally, Dad grunted. We've been trying to reach you. I've been busy. Work. Yes, well... He cleared his throat. Your mother and I need to speak with you, in person. About? Family matters. Dad, I have meetings all week. If this is about Prudence's boutique, it's not just the boutique, he cut in. Look, we need a little help to keep the family reputation intact. I caught Laura's eye. She mouthed, "Here it comes." What kind of help? I asked innocently. Financial? The words seemed to physically pain him. Just temporary. A loan. I work in data entry, Dad. I'm not exactly swimming in extra cash. You've always been good with money, responsible, prudent. He choked on the word. Unlike the promising one. Silence. How much? I asked. Come home, he said instead. Sunday dinner. We'll discuss details. I want numbers first, he sighed heavily. $250, plus some additional considerations. That's a lot of data entry, Dad. You must have something saved. You live so modestly. I let the silence stretch until he squirmed. Sunday dinner? Yes, and Esther, don't mention this to your sister. She's fragile right now. I hung up and looked at Laura. Sunday dinner. You're going? Oh, I'm going. I pulled out my laptop and opened a folder labelled Family Matters. Time to prepare the paperwork. The confession documents. And the property transfers. Call your office. I want everything ready by Sunday. Laura pulled out her phone, then paused. Esther, are you sure about this? Once you do this, there's no going back. No happy family reunions. No reconciliation. I showed her my screen, a photo from last Christmas. Me in the background, blurry and ignored, while Prudence commanded centre stage. They killed any chance of reconciliation 8 years ago. Now they get to learn what adequate really looks like. My phone buzzed with a text from Darren. Whatever's happening with your family, I'm here if you need backup. Laura read it over my shoulder. Bring him Sunday. What? Bring him. Let them see exactly who you've become when they weren't looking. I considered it, remembering Dad's dismissive tone, Mum's tearful manipulation, the casual way they assumed I was still the same pushover they'd sacrificed. You know what? I will. I typed back to Darren. Free Sunday evening. There's something I'd like you to see. His response came quickly. Name the time and place. I smiled, cold and satisfied. Time to show them what the adequate daughter can do. Laura raised her coffee cup in a toast. To karma. To karma, I agreed, and to family dinners they'll never forget. Sunday dinner felt like walking into a funeral. Mum had stress-cooked enough food for 20 people, though only 5 places were set. Prudence sat at the table looking hollow, her designer clothes hanging loose on her frame. Esther! Mum rushed to hug me. And who's this? Darren stepped forward in his impeccable suit. Darren Kelly, I work with Esther. Dad's eyebrows rose. At the data entry company. Something like that, Darren replied smoothly, catching my eye. We sat down, and Mum immediately launched into hostess mode, heaping food onto plates while chattering about nothing. Prudence pushed her food around, not eating. So, I said finally, let's discuss why I'm here. Can't we just have a nice family dinner? Mum pleaded. Like Christmas? I asked, when we pretended Prudence wasn't drowning in debt. Prudence's fork clattered to her plate. I don't need this right now. What do you need, besides $250,000? Dad cleared his throat. We've explored every option. The banks won't extend any more credit. Your mother's family can't help, even my pension. And you thought of me last, I finished. The adequate daughter with the modest job. Esther, please, Mum whispered. We're family. Family? I laughed. Like when you made me give up Stanford for her? Was that family? Darren's head snapped toward me, but I kept going. Or when you spent my college fund on her Harvard apartment? Or when you remortgaged your house to fund her boutique dreams? That's not fair, Prudence protested. No, what's not fair is assuming I'd bail you out after years of treating me like a backup plan. Dad's face darkened. Now listen here. No, you listen. I pulled out my phone and pulled up my banking app. You want to know what adequate looks like? I slid the phone across the table. Dad's eyes widened as he saw the balance. That's... "That's impossible," he stammered. "That's what happens when you work smart instead of relying on family names and Harvard connections." Mom grabbed the phone, gasping. "But how?" While Prudence was burning through Daddy's money, I was investing, building, creating. I turned to Darren. "Would you like to tell them what I really do?" Darren smiled. "Ms. Emerson is one of our most successful venture capitalists. She's built 3 tech companies from the ground up. But data entry," Dad sputtered, "was a cover. I wanted to see how long you'd keep underestimating me." I reached for my phone. "And now you need my help." Prudence burst into tears. "I'm sorry, okay? Is that what you want to hear? I'm sorry you didn't get Stanford. I'm sorry I messed everything up." "Sorry doesn't pay your debts," I said quietly. "What do you want?" Dad asked, his pride crumbling. "Everything has a price," I replied, pulling out Laura's documents. "These papers detail every advantage you gave Prudence at my expense. Every sacrifice you demanded, every time you chose her over me. Sign them." "What are they for?" Mum asked, hands shaking. "Public record. I want everyone to know exactly what kind of parents you are, what kind of sister she is." "You can't be serious," Dad exploded. $250,000 serious. I stood up. "Sign the papers, get the money, refuse, and I walk out that door." Prudence grabbed the papers, scanning them. "This would ruin us, our reputation." "Like you ruined my chances, my dreams, my trust in family?" Silence fell over the table. Darren watched with quiet intensity as my family stared at the documents. "You don't have that kind of money," Dad said finally, one last attempt at control. I smiled. "I could buy this house right now in cash. In fact," I pulled out another document. "I might just do that too." Mum started crying. Prudence looked like she might faint. Dad's face turned red with rage and shame. "Take it or leave it," I said, standing up. "You have until tomorrow to decide. Come on, Darren." At the door, I turned back. "Oh, and Prudence, that basic nobody who shops at Target, she's probably not drowning in debt." In the car, Darren was quiet for a long moment. "That was too much?" "Incredible," he finished. "Terrifying, but incredible." I looked back at the house where my family sat, probably still staring at those papers. "They'll sign." "How do you know?" "Because they're desperate, and I'm their last hope." I started the car. Ironic, isn't it? The adequate daughter holding all the cards. "There's nothing adequate about you," Darren said softly. I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in years. "No, there really isn't." Laura's office felt too small for all the tension it contained. My family sat clustered on one side of her conference table, looking like defendants at a trial, which, in a way, they were. "The terms are simple," Laura said, spreading out the documents. "You sign these affidavits acknowledging your actions regarding the Stanford scholarship, subsequent financial decisions, and systematic favoritism. In return, Esther will clear Prudence's debts." "This is extortion," Dad growled. "No," Laura replied calmly. "This is accountability." Prudence leaned forward, makeup perfect despite her obvious distress. "Essie, please, we can work something else out. I'll pay you back slowly." "With what money?" I asked. "Your boutique is bankrupt. Jessie's gone. Harvard connections dried up. What exactly do you have left to offer?" "I'm your sister." "You were my sister when you took my scholarship too." Mum dabbed at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. "We did what we thought was best for the family." "Best for Prudence," I corrected. "Now you can do what's best for her again. Sign." Dad picked up the papers, reading aloud. "We, the undersigned, acknowledge that we deliberately sacrificed Esther's academic future to benefit Prudence, displaying a pattern of emotional negligence and financial discrimination." He threw the papers down. "This is ridiculous." "Is it false?" Darren spoke up from the corner where he'd been quietly observing. "This is a family matter," Dad snapped. "A family matter you're about to make very public," Laura added. "These affidavits will be filed with the court, public record. Prudence burst into tears. You're trying to destroy us? No, I said quietly. I'm making you face what you did. Every country club friend, every Harvard connection, every business associate will know exactly how you treated your daughters. Unless, Mum asked weakly, unless you sign, then the money appears, the debts vanish, and you get to keep pretending to the world that you're perfect parents with a perfect golden child. And if we refuse, Dad challenged. I stood up, smoothing my designer suit, one that cost more than their monthly mortgage. Then Prudence declares bankruptcy. The house goes into foreclosure. The family name you sacrificed me to protect gets dragged through every financial paper in the city. You wouldn't, Prudence whispered. Try me. Laura pushed pens across the table. Take your time, read carefully, but know the offer expires in 1 hour. Mom reached for a pen with trembling fingers. Edgar, we have to. Eleanor, don't you dare. We have no choice, she snapped. Our daughter is drowning, and our other daughter... She looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Our other daughter holds all the power. I watched as she signed, her perfect penmanship spelling out her shame. Prudence followed, mascara running as she scribbled her name. Dad stared at the pen like it was a snake. Tick-tock, Laura said softly. You think this makes you powerful? He spat at me. Using money to humiliate your family? No, Dad. What makes me powerful is that I succeeded despite you, not because of you. I leaned forward. Karma's not a myth, Dad. It's me, and I'm collecting. His hand shook as he signed. Excellent, Laura said, gathering the papers. I'll file these today. Esther? I pulled out my phone, made a few taps. Money's transferred. Check your accounts. Prudence grabbed her phone, gasping as she saw the balance. It's all gone, the debt. And now, so am I. I stood up. Darren? He joined me at the door, placing a supportive hand on my back. Wait, Mum called. That's it? You're just leaving? What else is there? We're still family, Prudence pleaded. No, I said softly. We're just people who share DNA and a very public record of exactly how toxic that connection is. You've ruined us, Dad said hoarsely. You ruined yourselves. I just made you pay for it. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and one more thing. I'm buying your house. What? They all exclaimed. The paperwork's already in motion. You can stay, as tenants. Consider it adequate daughter's revenge. In the elevator, Darren finally spoke. That was too harsh. Justified, he said firmly. But are you okay? I looked at my reflection in the elevator doors. Designer suit, perfect posture, not a hint of the scared 18-year-old they'd once crushed. I'm better than okay, I said. I'm free. My phone buzzed. Laura, papers filed, it's done. I showed Darren the message. Want to grab dinner? I know a great place. Your family might be there. Good, I smiled. Let them see exactly who the adequate daughter became. The elevator doors opened to the lobby, and I walked out into the sunlight, leaving the weight of family expectations behind in that conference room. The closing papers for my parents' house arrived on a Thursday. I sat in Laura's office, watching Mum's hands shake as she signed away their family home. You can stay, I reminded her. The rental agreement is fair. Fair? Dad scoffed from his chair. You're making us pay rent to live in our own home? Not your home anymore, Laura corrected, collecting the signatures. And the rent is well below market value. Prudence burst through the door, waving her phone. Have you seen this? Have you fucking seen this? She thrust the phone at me. On the screen was a local business magazine's website. Rising Star, The Secret Success of Esther Emerson. The article went live an hour ago, Darren said, walking in behind her. Board thought it was time to announce your promotion to CEO. Mom grabbed the phone, reading aloud. From rejected Stanford scholar to tech industry powerhouse, Esther Emerson's rise proves success is the best revenge. She looked up, face pale. They quoted our affidavits. Public record, I reminded her. They're calling you a genius, Prudence whispered, a visionary. Funny how perspective changes when you're not being compared to the promising one. Dad stood up suddenly. This was your plan all along. Humiliate us, take our home, and then show the world. Show the world exactly what you did, I finished. Yes, that was precisely the plan. I'll fight this, he threatened. I'll tell everyone you coerced us, that I what? I stood, matching his stance. Forced you to sign a truthful account of how you treated your daughters? Go ahead. I'm sure the press would love to hear more details. Edgar, sit down, Mom hissed. You're making it worse. Prudence was still staring at her phone. There's a video interview too, with your old teachers, my ex-fiancé. She looked up. Jessie said you tried to warn him about my spending. I did. He didn't listen. Why would you try to help him? Because he was the only one who saw through your act. He deserved better than being your ATM. Darren cleared his throat. The board's waiting for your statement, Esther. They want to announce the new direction of the company. New direction? Dad asked despite himself. We're launching a scholarship program, I said, for promising students whose families can't afford elite universities or won't support them. Mum started crying again. Esther, please, we can fix this. We're still family. No, what we are is a cautionary tale about favoritism, about karma, about the dangers of underestimating the adequate daughter. I never meant, Prudence began. To what? Take everything? Destroy my dreams? Watch me struggle while you coasted on my sacrifice? I picked up the house keys from the table. You meant every bit of it, and now you get to live with the consequences. Where am I supposed to go? Prudence asked quietly. There's a nice one-bedroom apartment across town, within your new budget. Very adequate. Dad made one last attempt. You think this makes you better than us? Using money and power to punish your family? No, Dad. What makes me better is that I earned everything you tried to deny me. And now, I gestured to the magazine article still displayed on Prudence's phone. Now everyone knows it. Laura finished notarizing the documents. The house is officially transferred. Here's your copy of the rental agreement. I'll have my property manager contact you about inspection dates, I said, gathering my things. Darren, ready for that board meeting? He offered his arm with a smile. The car's waiting. At the door, I turned back one last time. My family sat in defeated silence. Mom crying, Dad seething, Prudence still staring at her phone in disbelief. You once wanted all that was mine, I said softly. Now you'll live in it, on my terms. In the elevator, Darren pulled me close. You okay? Better than okay. I showed him my phone. Laura had just texted that the Scholarship Foundation paperwork was ready. Ready to help some adequate students reach their full potential? He kissed me softly. There's nothing adequate about you. Never was. The elevator doors opened to a lobby full of reporters. Camera flashes burst as they spotted me. Ms. Emerson, can you comment on your incredible rise in the tech world? What inspired your Scholarship Foundation? Any response to your family's situation? I stepped forward, Darren's hand steady on my back, and faced the cameras with a smile that would make headlines tomorrow. I'm just a formally adequate daughter, I said clearly, who decided to show the world what adequate really looks like. The cameras flashed, capturing the moment the backup plan became the master plan, and I walked through the chaos toward my waiting car, leaving adequacy behind forever. The key felt heavy in my hand as I unlocked my childhood home's front door. The house was silent. My family had gone out, probably to avoid this moment, their first property inspection as my tenants. You don't have to do this yourself, Darren said behind me. The property manager could— No, I cut him off. I need to. We walked through the familiar rooms, now strange with my parents' attempts to maintain their former lifestyle on a reduced budget. Cheaper copies of their old artwork, empty spaces where valuable pieces had been sold. I stopped at the living room where it had all started, where they demanded I give up Stanford. This is where they broke your heart, Darren said quietly, and where I decided to rebuild it stronger. Footsteps on the porch made us turn. Prudence stood in the doorway, looking smaller in her non-designer clothes. "I thought I'd find you here," she said. "Property inspection." "Right." She stepped inside. I found my old Stanford rejection letter, the real one." I raised an eyebrow. "And?" "I never opened it back then. Mum and Dad said I was automatically accepted, that their connections—" She swallowed hard. "I got rejected, Esther. Even with all their pulling strings, I wasn't good enough." "But I was," I said quietly, "and they threw it away." "I know, She looked around the room. "I've been seeing a therapist. She says I need to face what we did to you." "Therapy was my suggestion," Laura said, appearing in the doorway, part of the healing process. I turned to my friend. "You knew?" "She called my office last week, asked for recommendations." Prudence stepped closer. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know, I see it now, all of it. What they did, what I let them do." "What you encouraged them to do," I corrected. "Yes." She wiped a tear. "The therapist says I was trapped in a golden cage of their expectations, but that's no excuse for trapping you in a darker one." My phone buzzed, a news alert about our scholarship foundation. The first recipients had been announced. Prudence saw it too. "You're giving other kids what they took from you." "I'm giving them what I had to fight for alone." "You weren't completely alone," Darren said, squeezing my hand. "You had Laura, and eventually me." "And now?" Laura prompted. I looked around the room, at the spaces where privilege once hung, at my sister's humbled stance, at the life I'd built from adequacy's ashes. Now I have everything they thought I couldn't achieve. I turned to Prudence, including peace. "I'm moving out," she said suddenly. "Found a job in customer service. It's adequate." She smiled weakly at the word. "But it's mine. No connections, no favours." "Good," I said simply. "Mum and Dad won't speak to me. Say I've sided with the enemy." "You're choosing truth over comfort," Laura observed. "It's harder." My phone buzzed again. A text from the scholarship committee. A student's thank you video. I played it, letting the young voice fill the room. "Because of Ms. Emerson's foundation, I don't have to choose between my dreams and my family's expectations." Prudence watched, tears flowing freely now. "That could have been you." "It is me. Every student we help is me." She nodded, understanding finally reaching her eyes. "I should go. My shift starts soon." She paused at the door. "The house looks different now." "Everything looks different now," I replied. After she left, Darren pulled me close. "Ready for dinner? The board wants to celebrate the scholarship announcements." "In a minute." I walked to the mantel, where a family photo still hung, me in the background, Prudence centre stage. I took it down. "What are you going to do with it?" Laura asked. "Leave it for them. A reminder." I placed it face down on the mantel. "Some things shouldn't be forgotten." "And some things," Darren said, "should be celebrated." He pulled out an envelope. "The latest investment numbers? We've doubled the scholarship fund." I smiled, taking his hand. "Let's go tell the board how many more adequate dreams we can fund." At the door, I took one last look at the room where adequacy died and excellence was born. My phone lit up with another scholarship thank you message. "You know what's better than revenge?" I said to Laura and Darren. "Legacy." We walked out together, leaving the empty spaces and old photos behind. Outside, a group of reporters waited, not for the story of family betrayal anymore, but for news of more scholarships, more opportunities, more adequate students ready to become extraordinary. I stepped into the sunlight, ready to give them something better than revenge to write about, ready to show the world what adequate dreams could build.
I always knew the cost of being the good daughter was high. I just never expected to find out exactly how high, or that my own family had been doubling the price behind my back. My name is Isabel, and until 3 months ago, I was living in my childhood home, sharing space with my parents and my older brother Carson. At 28, I knew it wasn't ideal,
But Mom's guilt trips about keeping the family together were Olympic level, and Dad's speeches about pooling resources seemed logical enough. Besides, someone had to be responsible while Carson chased his dreams of tech startup glory. Have you seen these numbers? Rachel dropped a stack of printouts on my desk during lunch break. My friend and fellow accountant had been pestering me to review my finances for weeks. Your monthly withdrawals are insane. It's just the mortgage share and utilities, I said, taking another bite of my sandwich. Plus groceries and... No. Rachel jabbed her finger at a line item. Look closer. I leaned in, squinting at the transaction history. There it was. KR Tech Consultancy. $12,500 transferred on the 15th, and again on the 30th. Every month, for the past year. That's not possible, I whispered, my sandwich forgotten. I never authorized... Keep looking. Rachel's voice was gentle but firm. There's more. She was right. Beyond the mysterious tech company payments, my share of the mortgage was nearly double what we'd agreed upon. The utilities seemed inflated too. All told, almost 70% of my salary was disappearing into family expenses, far more than the fair share my parents had guilted me into. That night at dinner, Mom was serving her famous lasagna when I decided to test the waters. So, Carson, how's the startup going? I asked, keeping my voice casual. He barely glanced up from his phone. Great! We're this close to landing major investors. Davis says... That's wonderful, honey. Mom beamed. See, Isabel? Your brother's going to make it big. We all just need to support each other until then. Speaking of support, I said, Dad, could you explain something about the mortgage payments? The fork stopped halfway to his mouth. What about them? Well, I was reviewing my statements today. Oh, Isabel, Mom interrupted. Don't be so obsessive about money. We're family. Everything works out in the end. Does it? I pulled out my phone, opened the banking app. Because I'm seeing some interesting transfers to KR Tech Consultancy. Care to explain? The silence was deafening. Carson's smirk disappeared. Dad suddenly became very interested in his plate. Mom's smile turned brittle. It's complicated, Dad finally said. The family needs to steal from me? My voice cracked. To lie! Don't be dramatic, Carson snapped. It's an investment in our future. Once my company takes off... How dare you accuse us of stealing? Mom's eyes welled with tears. After everything we've done for you, living here practically rent-free. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Rent-free! I'm paying most of the mortgage, and apparently funding Carson's pipe dreams too. You're being selfish, Dad said firmly. Family helps family. Your brother has real potential. And what about my potential? I stood up, hands shaking. What about my future? Oh, please. Carson rolled his eyes. You're an accountant. You've peaked. Mom reached for my hand. I pulled away. Sweetheart, we're just trying to do what's best for everyone. If you just understand, I understand perfectly. I looked at each of their faces. Mom's manipulative tears, Dad's stern disappointment, Carson's entitled disdain. Years of lies, exposed in an instant. You know what? You're right. Family should help family. They relaxed slightly, thinking they'd won. Again. I smiled, feeling something cold and certain settle in my chest. So tell me, if I stopped helping, how long do you think you'd last? Mom dropped her fork. Dad's face paled. Carson's smirk wavered. I pushed back from the table, appetite gone. Guess we'll find out. As I climbed the stairs to my room, I heard them start arguing in harsh whispers. I should have felt guilty. Instead, I felt something else. Freedom. The good daughter was done being good. I pulled out my phone and texted Rachel. "You were right. Time to make some changes." Her response came instantly. "About damn time. Want to apartment hunt tomorrow?" I looked around my childhood bedroom at all the pieces of the life they'd guilted me into maintaining. "Yes," I typed back. "And Rachel, thank you for making me look at those numbers. That's what friends are for. Unlike family, we actually want what's best for you." She was right about that too. And I was about to show my family exactly what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. The next morning, I called in sick to work and started digging. Rachel had taught me enough about digital forensics that accessing the family computer wasn't difficult, especially since Dad still used my birthday as his password. What I found made me wish I'd stayed ignorant. First came the emails, dozens of them, spanning back 18 months, between Dad and Carson. "She'll never notice if we increase the auto-transfer gradually. Just tell her utilities went up. Don't worry, once we secure funding, we'll pay her back." Then the doctored mortgage statements, carefully edited to hide how much of my money was really going into the house. Bank transfer authorizations with my forged signature. Even a folder labeled Isabel's expenses that tracked exactly how much they could extract from me each month. My hands were shaking when I found the email from Mom to Dad. "She's always been such a giving child. It's time she gave back to the family that raised her. Besides, Carson needs this chance more than she needs a savings account." I was still staring at the screen when I heard the front door open. Carson's voice drifted up the stairs. "Davis says we're weeks away from the big break. Just need to keep the lights on a little longer." I printed everything. Every email, every forged document, every betrayal in black and white. That evening, I spread them across the dinner table before anyone could serve food. "What's all this?" Mom asked, her voice artificially light. "You tell me." I pointed to her email. "Apparently, I don't need a savings account as much as Carson needs his 10th chance at success." Dad stepped forward. "Now, Isabel, don't." My voice was ice. "I have your emails too, the ones where you planned how to steal from me gradually so I wouldn't notice." "It wasn't stealing." Carson slammed his hand on the table. "It was a temporary reallocation of family resources." I turned to him slowly. "Did Davis help you come up with that line? Before or after you two lost the last round of investor money?" His face went white. "How did you— I'm an accountant, you idiot. Did you think I wouldn't eventually look into where my money was going? Your company's been officially dissolved for 3 months. You haven't had a business license since January." "We're restructuring," he muttered. Mom tried to touch my shoulder. I stepped away. "Sweetheart, you're making this sound so awful. We're just trying to help your brother achieve his dreams." "And what about my dreams?" I gestured to the papers. "I've lost nearly $50,000 to this family in the past year alone. Money that was supposed to be for my future." "You're being melodramatic," Dad said. "Everything we did was legal." I held up the forged bank documents. "Want to bet? Because I'm pretty sure fraud is still a crime." That shut him up. "Isabel." Mom's voice turned sharp. "I won't have you threatening your family like this, after everything we've sacrificed." "You sacrificed?" I laughed. "What exactly have you sacrificed? Because from where I'm standing, you've all been living off my sacrifices while telling me I'm selfish for wanting anything for myself." Carson stood up, towering over me. You think you're so perfect. The responsible one? The good daughter? You're just jealous because you know I'm going to make it big while you count other people's money for the rest of your life. Sit down, I said quietly, before I call the police and show them exactly where their fraud investigation should start. He sat. Mom started crying, real tears this time, not the manipulative ones she usually deployed. How can you do this to us? To your family? Family? I picked up the stack of evidence. Family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't lie and forge signatures and gaslight their children into thinking they're selfish for wanting basic financial security. What do you want? Dad asked wearily. Nothing. I headed for the stairs. I don't want anything from any of you anymore. That's it? Carson called after me. You're just going to abandon your family when we need you most. I stopped, turned back one last time. You know what's funny? If you'd just asked, actually asked, not manipulated and lied, I probably would have helped you, because that's what family does. But you didn't want a sister. You wanted an ATM. Please, Mom whispered. Don't do anything rash. I smiled, and for the first time I felt nothing when she cried. Don't worry, I won't do anything rash. I'll do exactly what you taught me. Look out for myself first, and call it family loyalty. I left them there, surrounded by the evidence of their betrayal. In my room, I sent Rachel a text. Found an apartment yet? Her reply came quickly. Actually, I might have something perfect. How soon can you move? How's tomorrow? That fast? I looked at my bank accounts, already imagining them free from unauthorized transfers and family obligations. That fast? It's amazing how quickly you can move when you're not carrying dead weight anymore. The apartment Rachel found wasn't just perfect. It was salvation. Tabitha, the property manager, took one look at my face and seemed to understand everything. First month's rent, security deposit, and I can have you in by tomorrow, she said, leading me through the sunny one-bedroom. Sometimes people need a fresh start fast. I signed the lease using my middle name, Elizabeth. When Tabitha raised an eyebrow, I simply said, "Family issues." She nodded. "I'll make sure your name isn't listed on any public directories." Back at work, I met with my supervisor. "I'd like to transfer to the remote team in the Denver office. The position opened yesterday," she said. "Your numbers are excellent, and they need someone with your experience. When can you start?" "How's next week?" That afternoon, I opened new bank accounts at a different bank. The teller watched me close my old accounts with raised eyebrows. "Family access issues," I explained, becoming familiar with the phrase. "Say no more," she replied, typing faster. "I'll make sure these new accounts have extra security protocols." Rachel helped me pack that night, after my family had gone to bed. We worked in silence, filling boxes with only what mattered: documents, clothes, a few photos from before everything went wrong, my laptop, my grandmother's recipe box. "They're going to lose their minds," Rachel whispered, taping another box. "They're going to lose a lot more than that." I checked my phone. Another missed call from Mom. "The mortgage is due next week. Should be interesting when they realize all their automatic payments have stopped." "Are you sure about this?" I held up my favorite coffee mug, then set it back down. "They can keep it. They can keep everything. I'm done." At 2 a.m., we loaded the last box into Rachel's car. I took one final walk through my room, making the bed with hospital corners like Mom always insisted. On the desk, I left my old house key and a single post-it note. "Goodbye." That's it? Rachel asked when I got back to the car. That's everything. We drove to my new apartment in the pre-dawn darkness. Tabitha was waiting, despite the hour. Welcome home, she said, handing me the keys. There's coffee in the kitchen. Seemed like you might need it. By sunrise, Rachel had helped me unpack the essentials and left for work. I sat on my new couch, the only furniture I'd bought so far, and watched my phone light up with notifications. 6:15 a.m. Mom, where are you? 6:20 a.m. Dad, this is unacceptable behavior. 6:45 a.m. Carson, you selfish bitch. 7 a.m. Mom, please come home. We can talk about this. 7:30 a.m. Dad, your mother is hysterical. Call immediately. I blocked their numbers one by one. Then I emailed work. Starting remote work today instead of next week. Family emergency. My supervisor replied instantly. Approved. Take care of yourself. I spent the day setting up my new life, changed my mailing address, redirected all my bills, called every bank and credit card company to add extra security measures, ordered basic furniture for delivery. Around noon, Tabitha knocked with a housewarming gift, a small potted plant. It's hardy, she said. Hard to kill, even when transplanted. Reminds me of someone. I managed a smile. Thank you. They'll try to find you, she warned. Family usually does. Let them try. I touched one of the plant's leaves. I'm done being their safety net. That evening, Rachel came by with takeout and wine. Your mom showed up at the office looking for you. What did you tell her? That I hadn't seen you. HR already flagged them as potential security risks. I warned them you had stalking concerns. I poured more wine. They're going to paint me as the villain in this story. Let them. Rachel raised her glass. To choosing yourself. To freedom, I agreed. Later, alone in my new space, I checked my email one last time. There was a notification from my bank. Payment failed. Mortgage auto transfer. I smiled, imagining the chaos at home. Dad discovering all the accounts frozen. Mom realizing her perfect family facade was crumbling. Carson facing the reality that his safety net had vanished. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Carson, you've ruined everything. I hope you're happy. I blocked the number and walked to the window. The city lights sparkled below, full of possibility. For the first time in years, I could breathe freely. Actually, I said to the empty room, I am happy. I turned off my phone, curled up on my new couch, and slept better than I had in years. Tomorrow would bring more drama, more guilt trips, more attempts to drag me back. But they'd lost their power over me. The good daughter was gone, and she wasn't coming back. Freedom feels strange when you've lived in a cage your whole life. The first week in my new apartment, I kept waiting for someone to tell me what to do, to guilt me about my choices, to demand my time or money. Instead, there was just peace. I established new routines, morning coffee on my tiny balcony, work from my dedicated home office corner, evening walks around my new neighborhood, no one questioning my whereabouts, no one making me feel selfish for spending my own money, but the guilt still crept in, usually at night. Am I a terrible person? I asked Rachel during one of our wine nights. They're still my family. She put down her glass. Play the latest voicemail. I hesitated, then hit play on my backup phone, the one I kept just to document their messages. Isabel, it's Mom. The bank called today. We might lose the house. Your father's blood pressure is through the roof. Carson had to move back home because his apartment. Please, baby. We need you. Family helps family. You're killing us. Rachel stopped the playback. That's emotional terrorism, not love. I know, but... No buts. She refilled our glasses. They're adults who made their choices. Now they get to live with them. My work phone buzzed. Another email from HR. Second notification. Your mother attempted to access the building again today. Security has been notified. See? Rachel pointed at my phone. They're not worried about you. They're worried about their bank accounts. The next morning, Tabitha caught me collecting my mail. This came for you, she said, handing me an envelope. It was sent to your old address, but the post office caught the forwarding notice in time. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a notice from the bank. First notice of foreclosure. Bad news? Tabitha asked. Not my problem anymore. I crumpled the notice. Though I should probably warn Rachel. They'll be getting desperate now. I was right. That afternoon, Rachel called. Your brother cornered me in the parking lot. Are you okay? Fine. But Isabel. He seemed different, scared. He said Davis disappeared with what was left of the company funds. I laughed. Karma's not wasting any time. He wanted me to tell you he's sorry, that he needs his sister. Funny how I'm suddenly his sister again, now that he needs money. That night, the voicemails got worse. Your father had a panic attack today. Delete. The bank won't even talk to us anymore. Delete. Is this what you wanted? To destroy your family? Delete. I was about to block another number when a text from Rachel popped up. Turn on the local news. Now. I did. There on the screen was Carson, being led out of his former office in handcuffs. The caption read, Local tech startup founder arrested for investor fraud. My phone exploded with notifications. Mom, what did you do? I hadn't done anything. Yet. But watching Carson's perp walk gave me an idea. I opened my laptop and started compiling documents, bank statements, forged signatures, email trails, everything I'd gathered before leaving. Then I opened a new email to investigationsLocalnews.com. Subject, Tech fraud story. Additional information attachment. KR Tech's your evidence. Zip. Thought you might be interested in where some of that startup money really came from. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. Rachel called minutes later. Did you just... They wanted to play family. I watched another police car pull up to my old house on the news. Let's play. Your mom's outside my apartment, she said quietly. Stay inside. I'll call the police. No need. Tabitha's here. She's telling your mom about the restraining order she helped me file this morning. I blinked. You filed a restraining order? Had to. They're escalating, Isabel. This isn't just about money anymore. They're unraveling. She was right. The next voicemail proved it. Mom's voice, barely a whisper. We could lose everything. Please, Isabel, come home. We'll do anything. The police are here and your father, just come home. Please, I saved the message, then texted Rachel. Still think I'm not a terrible person. Her response was immediate. I think you're finally being a smart one. They made their choices. Now they get to face the consequences. I walked to my balcony, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere across town, my family's carefully constructed world was crumbling. Part of me ached to help them, to fall back into old patterns. But then I remembered the forged signatures, the stolen money, the years of manipulation. My phone buzzed again, an email notification. Local news wants to schedule an interview about the KR tech story. I smiled and hit delete. I didn't need to say anything more. The truth was doing all the talking for me. The news story broke on a Tuesday morning. Tech startup scandal. Family fraud scheme exposed. Blazed across local headlines. I watched from my work desk as my family's carefully constructed facade crumbled in real time. "Your brother's trending on Twitter," Rachel messaged. Not in a good way. I was about to respond when my supervisor called. "Isabel, your mother's in the lobby." My heart stopped. "I have a restraining order. Security's handling it, but—" She paused. "She's crying, making quite a scene." I pulled up the lobby security feed on my computer. There was Mom, mascara running, clutching photos of me as a child. Classic manipulation tactics, now playing to a very public audience. "Should I call the police?" my supervisor asked. "No." I took a deep breath. "I'll handle it." The elevator ride down felt eternal. When the doors opened, Mom spotted me immediately. "Baby!" She rushed forward, arms outstretched. Security blocked her path. "That's close enough," I said, keeping my distance. "You're violating a restraining order." "A restraining order? Against your own mother?" Her voice rose dramatically. "After everything we've done for you?" People were staring, recording on their phones. Exactly what she wanted. "Everything you've done?" I smiled pleasantly for the cameras. "Like forging my signature, stealing my money, funding Carson's fraud? That's not—" Her face paled. "You sent those documents to the news?" "Actually, I didn't." I moved closer, lowering my voice. "But I did just record you admitting they're real." She stumbled back. "You wouldn't." "Try me." I nodded to security. "Please escort her out. And yes, I want to press charges for violating the restraining order." As they led her away, she screamed, "He's your brother! Family means nothing to you?" "Family meant everything to me," I called after her. "That's why you were able to steal so much." Back at my desk, messages poured in. Rachel. "That video's already on social media." Tabitha. "Police called. Your father's been spotted near the apartment." HR. "Taking additional security measures. Work from home today?" I was gathering my things when my phone rang, an unknown number. "Isabel?" It was Davis, Carson's missing business partner. "We need to talk." "About what? How you stole from my brother after he stole from me?" "No, about how he's been stealing from everyone for years. Check your email." I opened the attachment he sent. Bank statements showing Carson had been embezzling from multiple sources long before Davis disappeared. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because he's telling everyone I took everything, but I only took my share back." Davis sounded tired. "Look, your brother's not the victim here. He's the con man. And you're just the honest thief?" "I'm the whistleblower. Those documents you leaked, they only told half the story." I forwarded his email to the news tip line without responding. Let them sort out which thief was telling the truth. Rachel appeared at my desk. "Your mom's video is viral. People are picking sides." "Of course they are." I checked social media. Our family betrayal was trending. "How's it looking?" "Surprisingly, most people are on your side, especially after someone leaked the forged documents." My phone buzzed. Carson using another burner number. "You happy now? Mom's a mess. Dad's sick. I'm facing charges. Hope your revenge was worth it." I typed back. "Ask Davis about the missing money." "Oh, wait, he's talking to reporters right now." No response. Rachel touched my arm. You okay? No. I showed her my screen, an email from my old neighbors. Thought you should know. Police are at your parents' house again. Your father collapsed. Don't you dare feel guilty, Rachel warned. I don't. I gathered my laptop. I feel relieved. Is that horrible? It's honest. She helped me pack up. Where are you going? Home. I've given them enough of a show today. In my apartment, Tabitha was waiting. Police caught your father before he got inside. He's been arrested. Good. I poured myself a drink. Maybe jail will give him time to think about his choices. And your brother? I pulled up the latest news update. Second arrest in tech fraud case. Co-founder returns with evidence. Looks like Davis kept better records than Carson expected. My phone lit up. Mom again, using a friend's number. Please, your father's in the hospital. We need you. I blocked the number and turned to Tabitha. They're not going to stop, are they? No. She sat beside me. But you don't have to answer. I know. I watched another news alert pop up. Family fraud scheme widens. More victims coming forward. The truth was spreading faster than they could contain it. Their carefully constructed world wasn't just crumbling anymore. It was imploding. And I had front row seats to the show. The bank took the house on a Thursday. I watched through Rachel's phone as she drove past. The locksmith changing locks. The foreclosure notice taped to the door. Mom sitting on the front steps with her head in her hands. They're putting everything in storage, Rachel reported. Your mom's church friends are there, helping pack. Bet she's loving the attention, I said, sorting through work emails. Actually, they seem pretty cold toward her. Guess stealing from your daughter doesn't play well in church circles. My work phone buzzed. A message from Dad's number. Coffee. Just once. Please. I should have deleted it. Instead, I replied, Courthouse Cafe, 2 p.m., security cameras, witnesses, no drama. Rachel thought I was crazy. He just got out of the hospital. Exactly. He's weak enough to maybe tell the truth. The cafe was busy when I arrived. Dad already sat at a corner table, looking smaller than I remembered. Older. Beaten. You came, he said as I sat down. I'm timing this. You have 15 minutes. He nodded, hands shaking around his coffee cup. We never meant... Stop. I held up my hand. If you're here to justify stealing from me, I'm leaving. We counted on you, he said instead. We thought you'd never leave. That's worse, actually. Your mother's staying with her sister. The church. They've turned on us. Our friends won't return calls. Karma's fascinating, isn't it? He leaned forward. Carson's living in his car. He's your brother, Isabel. Family helps. Don't. I stood up. You don't get to use that line anymore. Not after what you did. We were desperate. His company was a scam from day one, and you knew it. Dad deflated. How did we get here? You got here by stealing from your daughter. I got here by finally walking away. I gathered my purse. 15 minutes are up. Wait! He grabbed my arm. Please, we can fix this. Come home. I yanked free. That's not my home anymore. You made sure of that. Then why meet me at all? To see if there was anything left worth saving. I looked at him. Really looked at him. There isn't. Back at work, Rachel was waiting. How'd it go? Carson's homeless, Mom's exiled, Dad's broken, and I feel... nothing. Nothing? Well, Maybe a little satisfaction. My phone chimed. A news alert. Local investors file class action lawsuit against KR Tech founders. Your brother's going to jail, Rachel said softly. Good. Maybe he can share a cell with Dad when the fraud charges hit. You're really done with them, aren't you? I showed her my phone. Another message from Dad. He's your brother. Family helps. See that? I deleted the message. That's all I am to them. An ATM with a pulse. Ms. Elizabeth? My assistant poked her head in. There's a call from the DA's office. They want to know if you'll testify about the forged documents. I thought about Mom's tears, Dad's pleading, Carson's smirk when he called me jealous. Tell them yes. Rachel raised an eyebrow. You sure? They want to talk family. Let's talk family, under oath, in front of a judge. My phone buzzed again. A text from Tabitha. Your mother's at the apartment complex again. Police are handling it. I forwarded the message to my lawyer. Add it to the restraining order violations. They're spiraling, Rachel warned. Let them spiral. I'm done catching them. My work email pinged, a message from Davis's lawyer. Client willing to testify about Carson's prior fraudulent activities in exchange for consideration. I forwarded it to the DA's office with one line. Looks like Brother Dearest has more secrets. Rachel touched my shoulder. You know they'll say you destroyed the family. They destroyed it themselves. I just stopped playing along. My phone lit up. Mom using another new number. The church is talking about removing us from the congregation. Your father can't find work. Carson's sleeping in his car. Are you happy now? I blocked the number and turned to Rachel. Actually, I am happy, yeah? Yeah, because for the first time in my life, I'm not responsible for fixing their messes. My email chimed one last time. The DA's office. Court date set for fraud charges. Please confirm your availability to testify. I hit reply. I'll be there. It's time everyone heard the truth about family loyalty. Rachel raised her coffee cup. To Karma. I clinked my cup against hers. To justice. Outside my office window, storm clouds gathered. Somewhere in the city, my family was facing the consequences of their choices, without me to save them, without me to blame. And for the first time, that felt exactly right. The knock came at midnight, 3 sharp raps that made my heart jump. Isabel. Carson's voice, slurred and angry. Open the damn door. I called Tabitha immediately. My brother's here. He's drunk. Police are already on their way, she replied. Stay inside. Isabel! Another pound on the door. I know you're in there. You ruined everything. I turned on my phone's camera, recording. Go away, Carson. You think you're so perfect? Something crashed against my door. You destroyed our family. For what? Money? You mean my money? The money you stole? I was going to pay it back. His voice cracked. The company was going to work, but you had to go digging, had to go running to the press. Actually, Davis did that. I just stopped covering for you. A thud. He must have slumped against the door. Davis betrayed me. Like you betrayed me. That was different. We're family. Not anymore. He started laughing, an ugly, broken sound. You know what's funny? Mom and Dad still defend you. She's just hurt, they say. She'll come around. They don't get it. Get what? That you're cold, empty. You don't care about anyone but yourself. Project much? I moved closer to the door. Who's been living off others his whole life? Who never worked an honest day? Who stole from his own sister? I deserved that money. He slammed something else against the door. I'm the one with vision, with potential. You're just a boring little accountant who's about to testify against you in court. I checked my phone. Police were 1 minute out. Who has all the evidence of your fraud? Silence. Then, you wouldn't. I already did. Check your lawyer's messages. More silence. Then a scratch at the door. Was he trying to pick the lock? Carson, I warned. The police are... The door burst open. He stood there, wild-eyed, reeking of alcohol. Take it back. Call them off. Or what? I backed toward my kitchen. You'll steal from me again? He lunged forward. You little... Police! Freeze! 2 officers burst through my open door, tackling Carson before he could reach me. He went down hard, screaming about family and betrayal as they cuffed him. Tabitha appeared behind them. Are you okay? I nodded, still recording. Got it all on video. You bitch! Carson thrashed as they lifted him. You're not my sister. You're nothing. No, I said calmly. I'm a witness, and you just violated a restraining order on camera. They dragged him out, his threats echoing down the hallway. Tabitha touched my arm. Your hands are shaking. I'm okay. I wasn't, but I would be. Just need a minute. My phone buzzed. Rachel. Just saw police cars. You all right? Carson paid a visit. He's headed to jail. Want me to come over? No, but tomorrow, let's go look at that house I mentioned. The one across town? Yeah. Time to move again. Somewhere they'll never find. The next morning, my lawyer called. Carson's arrest changes things. DA's offering a deal if you testify about the long-term fraud. Tell them I'll do it. Your parents won't forgive this. They haven't forgiven me for leaving. Might as well make it count. Later that day, I drove past the old house. The windows were boarded up, the garden dead. A bank-owned sign stood where Mum's prized roses used to grow. I parked across the street, remembering all the years I'd lived there, all the guilt, all the manipulation, all the lies. My phone chimed, Mum using yet another number. Your brother's in jail. Are you happy now? Is this what you wanted? I got out of the car, walked to the mailbox. Inside my pocket, my old house key felt heavy. Another text. We're your family. How could you do this to us? I dropped the key in the mailbox. It made a small, final sound. One last text. Please, we need you. I took a picture of the foreclosure sign and sent it as my only reply. Then I blocked the number and drove away. At home, Rachel was waiting with takeout. How'd it go? It's done. I handed her a glass of wine. All of it. No regrets. I thought about Carson's face as they arrested him. Mom's tears, Dad's pleading, the house I grew up in, empty and abandoned. No regrets. I raised my glass. Just freedom. Outside, the sun was setting. Somewhere in a jail cell, my brother was learning about consequences. Somewhere in a borrowed room, my parents were facing life without their safety net. And here, in my own space, I was finally, completely free. The courtroom fell silent as I took the stand. Carson sat at the defendant's table, refusing to meet my eyes. Mom and Dad weren't present. They'd chosen not to watch their perfect family fantasy crumble under oath. Please state your name for the record, Isabel Ryan. And your relationship to the defendant. I looked directly at Carson. Former family, The prosecutor walked me through it all. The forged documents, the stolen money, the years of financial abuse masked as family obligation. With each piece of evidence, Carson seemed to shrink smaller. And how much money was taken from your accounts without authorization? $57,412. Did the defendant ever intend to repay you? Objection! Carson's lawyer stood. I'll rephrase. The prosecutor smiled. Ms. Ryan, did your brother ever make any attempts to repay these loans? No. He was too busy buying designer suits and leasing luxury cars with investor money. Carson finally looked at me, his face twisted with hatred. I stared back, calm and steady. After court, Rachel waited outside. How'd it go? He took a plea deal. Restitution, jail time, the works. I breathed deeply. It's over. Your parents? Haven't heard from them since... My phone buzzed. Speak of the devils! A text from Mom. The church took a vote. We're out. Happy now? I deleted it without responding. Home? Rachel asked. Actually, I pulled out a business card. There's somewhere I need to be. The women's shelter was small but welcoming. The director, Maria, greeted me warmly. So, you want to volunteer as a financial advisor for abuse survivors? Yes. I sat straighter. I know what it's like when family uses money as a weapon. Your story's been in the news. She nodded. It might help others recognize the signs. That's why I'm here. I handed her my certifications. I want to help people escape before they lose everything. Like you did. Better than I did. Earlier, smarter. She smiled. When can you start? That evening, I found a letter in my mailbox. Handwritten, no return address. Mom's distinctive script. I understand now. It was always you we should have believed in. Not that it matters anymore. You've made your choice. I crumpled it up, then smoothed it out again. Added it to my evidence folder, just in case. My phone chimed, a message from Davis's lawyer. Client's testimony corroborated your statement. Full restitution ordered. Another text followed, from an unknown number. It's Davis. I'm sorry. For everything. I typed back. Keep the money. Consider it the price of learning who my family really was. Rachel called moments later. You're not really letting him keep it? I donated it. Maria's shelter needs a financial literacy program. You're something else, you know that? I'm just tired of money being used to hurt people. My doorbell rang. Tabitha with a housewarming gift for my new place. A bigger plant this time. The other one survived, she said. Thought you could use a garden. Thank you. For everything. You did the hard part yourself. She touched my shoulder. Not everyone's strong enough to choose peace over family. My phone buzzed again. The DA's office. Carson Ryan sentenced. 3 years. Full no-contact order granted. Good news? Tabitha asked. The best kind. Freedom. Later, alone in my new apartment across town, I opened my laptop to find an email from a shelter resident. Your story helped me leave. Thank you. I started typing a response, but another email popped up. From Dad. Your mother's not well. The shame, the isolation. We never thought it would end like this. I wrote back 2 words. You did. Then I returned to the shelter resident's email. You're stronger than you know. Trust me, there's life after family, a better one. Let me show you how to build it. My phone lit up one last time. Rachel. Dinner? Can't. Teaching a financial independence class at the shelter. Look at you. turning pain into purpose. I smiled, gathering my teaching materials. More like turning revenge into revolution. Outside, the city hummed with possibility. Somewhere, my family was learning to live without their favorite victim. Somewhere, another person was gathering the courage to escape. And here, in the life I'd built from the ashes of their betrayal, I was finally thriving. Not as a daughter, not as a sister, not as a victim, just as myself. And that was everything.